Charge your phone. Wake up. Why won't you wake up?
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Join Google Play Points, the loyalty program that offers you exciting benefits. Now earn points on every purchase. Play more. Level up to gold and platinum. And unlock exclusive rewards.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 Series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
सी गॉड ऑफ 40R के रिडेम्पशन आर्क की हो चुकी है शुरुआत. Medal Esports are preparing to take the Season 4 medal home. Feels like Destro's magnet has finally started pulling off. क्या ओमेगा की टीम का दिख सकता है मेगा कमबैक? Watch BGMS Season 4 live on Jio Hotstar, Star Sports and Nodwin Gaming's YouTube channel daily 5 p.m. onwards.
After watching the days inside of the BGMS Season 4, it feels like as the days are passing by, the aggression's amping up day by day. And you guys are currently watching the league stage Week 3, Day 3. I'm going to be your host, Crore. John alongside with me on the panel, it's Phoenix Shivansh. And Phoenix, as I mentioned, right, as the days are passing by, it feels like the aggression's amping up day by day. And yesterday, Seoul pulling off a 42-pointer chicken dinner. That was absolutely mind-boggling.
That was certainly a crazy matchup for them, and especially for the fans, because once again, a lot of the fans were waiting for this type of performance from the side of Team Seoul, right? They've been trying a lot, and they were showcasing some good signs, but yesterday was the day of Team Seoul, especially that one game.
With that one massive performance, Seoul directly catapulted themselves in the top 4, and now looking pretty comfortable in that spot as well. But if you talk about the team that was kicked outside of the top 4, one thing is for sure, that team is not going to be happy. I'm talking about Hero Extreme Godlike. Not they're in the top 4 anymore. They do not have any sort of bounty on top of their head, which is a good thing, but still being in the top 4, we all know that's a massive priority. You directly move on towards the grand finals.
And you can easily chill out and just focus on your game, and you can just, look forward at how other teams are actually processing and how other teams are moving forward with the playoffs itself. But to be honest, I think so. There's a different and interesting banter between these two teams. Whosoever just enters into the top 4 and whosoever just gets out of the top 4.
And since we're speaking so much about what exactly happened yesterday, let's have a look at the Week 3 Day 2 recap and find out how the action really kicked off. Of course, inside of the Game 1, we never know what to exactly expect, and especially towards the map of Erangel, things were extremely spicy as well. And since we know it's the Week 3, we expected all the teams on the latter half of the board to go all guns blazing. Things kicked off in quite a fiery manner. A fight between Metal Esports and OG, where Metal Esports got absolutely destroyed. But then in the final few moments, we also did see FS Esports taking on the players of NoNx, and in the final few moments, there was still OG alive, but unfortunately for OG, things were not exactly going their way.
Awesome, and eventually we just saw Team Orion looking strong and eventually get the chicken din in their favor. Moving forward with the second game, Team Soul from the get-go in the Miramar map, they were looking solid, eliminates Reckoning out of the picture, and then we just saw the players of Team TWOB manage to shut down 3 players of Marcus Gaming, and then they also finished off the players of Team REVENANT and managed to get the bounty on their head. But Team Soul versus Orangutan as well as versus Team NoNx, that was an incredible fight. It managed to get the chicken in the bag, and we can see the boys were so much happy.
I mean, then we moved on towards the map of Sanhok, where once again there was a fiery start from the side of Soul. Soul claiming a few elimination points in the power play itself. Of course, we're looking pretty good, but unfortunately for Soul, they were already beaten up and bruised up from that previous fight, so they were not able to sustain that ground for too long. Later on, we moved on towards OG, dismantling Genesis Esports, but OG got third-partied by the likes of K9 Esports instantly, and OG were the one to face the brunt.
Once again, we just saw that eventually Mane was trying to go for a heal battle, and eventually he got eliminated, and an easy end for the players of Team Quadrant. But the final wrangle, that was a crazy one. Ferry Pierce saw a massive number of fights. Phoenix Esports managed to shut down Team TWOB in a very incredible fashion. We never knew that what just happened to Team TWOB. Meta NINZA managed to shut down the players of Team, once again, Phoenix and Marcus Gaming too. That was a really bad fight for the players of Team Marcus Gaming, but Genesis is showcasing their true dominance and their true face, especially Hunters managing to get the major number of frags.
And that was pretty much what happened yesterday. Of course, Soul's massive chicken dinner has to be the main highlight, but another thing that is really catching my eye is also going to be NoNx with that consistent string of performance. They're really starting to amp up that overall standings now.
So in the first week, especially as well as in this early stages of the second week, the question was what happened to NoNx, how they will climb up the ladder, and they really do deserve the slot because we just saw a banter on the stage, and NoNx actually proved their worth and they just climbed up the ladder and they're looking solid. Especially now I can say they're in form.
And especially that back-to-back chicken dinner is something that really got the wind of the sails, and they instantly moved on in the top 12 in the overall standings as well. But I'm pretty sure, speaking about the viewers, speaking about the people that are currently watching this broadcast, there are probably a lot of questions on what exactly happened to Hero Extreme Godlike in that one particular game. And just to clarify things, Hero Extreme Godlike, after the back-end team went through a thorough investigation, they found out that Hero Extreme Godlike actually violated a couple of rules, and that's why there will be no compensation points given to them today.
Alright, you know, stuff happens, things happen, and now you'll move forward with the game. Sometimes some things are more important in your life than collecting those points, but for now, the important part is you have to be in the top 4. Orangutan, 444 number on the number 1 spot. Revenant X-Pac on the second. OnePlus Godsrain still maintained on the third position. And now, because OnePlus Godsrain, they are on the third position, Destro himself contradicting his own statement that he mentioned, you know what, I don't want to be in top 4. I really want to be on the 5th and, you know, below the top 4, because I really want to stay in momentum and I want me and myself, my team, want to play some more games.
The second page of the overall standings as well pop up on the screen. I mean, once again, the same names over here. You've got Global Esports on the 9th spot with 352 points as well. They're looking extremely good on that spot. Then you've also got Meta NINZA right there on the 17th spot on the third page. MyG Los Hermanos. Yeah, in that one game, we did see MyG Los Hermanos make a bit of that bounce back, but just that one game's not enough. MyG Los Hermanos, they need to bring a consistent string of performance, and that's the only way they can breach inside of the top 12. The days are passing by, and we all know, as long as this week 3 comes to an end, probably a lot of those teams who are not in the top 12 will directly move on towards the playoffs. But once again, about the Hero Extreme Godlike situation that happened yesterday, if you guys want more updates onto that, if you guys want to know in depth on what exactly happened, make sure to follow Nodvin Gaming socials. Probably in-depth explanation will be there over there, and which rules were violated, they will let you know over there. But back towards the conversation that we're having, right? Now the main question relies that this week is all about the teams on the bottom. Let's be honest. It's all about making a comeback. It's all about making a statement before you actually move on towards the playoffs or move on towards the semifinals and at least get that proper momentum rolled up. Which team do you think actually stands a chance to make that comeback?
I think so. It's going to be Marcus Gaming, right? We talk about the chicken dinner they are getting, especially the other matches. The comparison is really, really interesting. The average finishes they got they got a huge drop in that, and this is a really shocking number, to be honest. I really hope Marcus Gaming will bounce back, Necro, but how is going to be the question?
Well, Marcus Gaming, they definitely do have the firepower. They definitely do have the guts as well. And we know they do pack a lot of punch. So let's hope they actually do make a comeback. Before that, we've got a quick interview lined up. So let's move on to the stage and have a look at that.
Stone, you know, everybody is talking about the same thing. सब यही डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. जिस टीम के 6 चिकन डिनर हैं, फिनिश पॉइंट्स के मामले में आप टॉप 10 में भी नहीं है. तो क्या ये कहना सही होगा कि जब आप अच्छा करते हैं तो बहुत अच्छा करते हैं और जब बुरा करते हैं भाई बहुत बुरा करते हैं?
जी वही हम थोड़ा 4 मैचेस में थोड़ा स्ट्रैटेजी चेंजेस कर रहे हैं ना, तो 2 मैचेस ऐसा करते, 2 मैचेस ऐसा करते, तो चेंजेस करने की वजह से हम थोड़ा पीछे है किल्स के मामले पे.
इनकंसिस्टेंट वर्ड यूज करना सही होगा. इज इट राइट टू ऑल्सो से कि पॉइंट्स टेबल पे फिलहाल 12th पोजीशन आप थोड़े गुम से नजर आ रहे हैं, बिकॉज either you end up being in the top 3 or you're not there at all?
हाँ वही, मतलब टॉप 12 से हम जाते कभी टॉप 9 फिर नीचे आते, तो हम टॉप 4 का एम रख के कर रहे हैं. तो 2 मैचेस में हम थोड़ा चेंजेस कर रहे हैं. कमबैक तो करने का ट्राई कर रहे हैं हर मैचेस पे, फिर भी अपना थोड़ा गन फाइट में चोक हो रहा है. वही मतलब असल्टर्स को समझाया हूँ, इस बार देखते हैं. अभी 12 मैचेस में मैं होप खोया नहीं, कमबैक का सोचा हूँ, करूँगा इसमें कमबैक.
आई गेस इस गेम का सबसे अहम पहलू जो है वो है रोटेशंस. तो क्या आपकी रोटेशंस जो है वो थोड़ी सी लक बेस नजर आ रही हैं?
हाँ लक बेस तो नहीं बोल सकता, क्योंकि ना मैं वो रोटेशन और जोन का शिफ्टिंग की भी मैं देख चुका हूँ, बहुत बार देख चुका हूँ. मैं रात भर यही करता हूँ, तो मुझे पता है ये कहाँ शिफ्ट होता है, ये कहाँ वो होता है. तो मैं ये तो लक नहीं बोलता, क्योंकि ना मेरा स्ट्रैटेजी है ये जोन होल्ड करने का.
प्रेशर फील कर रहे हो? बिकॉज सिर्फ 5 दिन का खेल बचा हुआ है एंड टॉप 4 का स्पॉट अगर आपको हासिल करना है, यू हैव टू प्ले आउट ऑफ योर स्किन्स मैन.
प्रेशर तो मैं बिल्कुल इधर नहीं कर रहा हूँ. हाँ घर पे जब क्वालिफिकेशन रहता ना तब प्रेशर लेता था. इधर तो मेरे को प्रेशर कुछ भी नहीं है. बस मैं अभी भी वो कर सकता हूँ, मैं नॉर्मल गेम स्टाइल रखता हूँ ना, तो मैं पक्का क्वालिफिकेशन के लिए मैं कर लूँगा. लेकिन थोड़ा किल्स के मामले में हम पीछे है ना, वही सोच के मैं थोड़ा स्ट्रैटेजी चेंज कर रहा हूँ, तो वो थोड़ा मेरे को इफेक्ट पड़ रहा है बहुत. तो मैं अभी वही जो नॉर्मल है वही लेता हूँ, प्रेशर तो नहीं ले रहा मैं.
ऑलराइट, बेस्ट ऑफ लक बड़ी. आज के सारे मैचेस 4 मैचेस वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट मैचेस फॉर एवरी टीम हु इज ट्राइंग टू मेक इट टू द नेक्स्ट स्टेज खेले जाएंगे 1+13 पे. वी टेक अ ब्रेक एंड कम बैक. मैच 1 कमिंग अप ऑन योर स्क्रीन्स सून.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
All right, class. For today's lesson...
I already taught her something.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Welcome back after that short break, and maybe a lot of those questions now will be answered once we actually do step inside of the map of Erangel, which will also be the first map of the day. And Shivansh, I really want to ask you one thing. Which team do you think is going to be the one to come out on top in this game and snatch that chicken dinner?
Ooh, I'll just... Can I name two teams?
Yes, sure.
Mad Kings and Genesis.
So, at least you think these two teams will be in the top two, right? Bare minimum.
Yeah, at least. They will be in top 3. That's going to be my safest bet.
Alright, cool.
If, somebody just messes up.
I really want to go with someone who's currently not there in the top 4, who's not looking that great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a part of me really wants to go with a familiar name as well. I'm not exactly sure what to do with that.
Alright.
But you know what? I'm going to go with K9 Esports. I feel like that's quite a good middle ground, and K9 Esports, they're sort of on a struggling spree as well, and sometimes they actually do end up doing pretty good for themselves. So you never know. That inconsistency is something that definitely hits them.
It's going to be interesting, though. Now you opted for K9 Esports that they will get the chicken dinner, right? Any other team you want to name that they will end up in the top 3 in this particular map, other than K9 Esports especially?
I think Global Esports.
Global Esports.
I always talk about Global Esports
you
and how
are
there's a bit of that relation.
Come on, Nick.
No, look, Global Esports, they've always got that good luck charm in that first game. They always do extremely good in that first game. There's something about that. Global Esports and the relation of first game, there's something mixture going on over here. So let's just hope that Global Esports actually does do good, and we will probably see them over there in the future charges. But hey, something that is quite important for you guys, and you guys should definitely know it, is that you guys can watch BGMS 2025 with the multicam feature for the first time on Geo Hotstar. A while ago, a pop-up did pop up on the bottom right corner. You guys can go ahead and head towards that, and you guys can watch the POVs of those particular teams.
This is going to be really, really important for you if you love to just witness how these teams and players actually work. But I am really pumped up, and you guys can also mention which team you are eyeing out for will get the chicken dinner in this particular match.
Without wasting any time, though, let's just move on towards the first game of the day, as the plane's going to be in the skies now once again. And this time, I hope the plane flat path is going to be fair with all the points. The plane flat path starting all the way from Sanhok military base towards the opposite side, which is shooting range. This plane flat path tilted a little bit towards the left side if the teams do want to move in towards right. Now, that's going to be a tough stretch.
It certainly is, and to all the teams who tend to move towards the eastern side of the map, it is really going to be a little bit of a problem for them, but I don't think so, because you can easily find those vehicles and just move towards your favorite drop location. But let's get this party started. Power play is on, and you are looking for some major points. Before this particular game started, we had an interesting interview with the ITL himself of Team Marcus Gaming, and he said that yes, they will try to come back, but in this particular game, we place our bets onto Genesis and Mad Kings for me, and Necro opting for K9 and Global Esports. On the other side, Team True Rippers, because, God's reign, they are not here, so obviously they would love to drop near the military base, and now the Sanhok military base, the island, is completely empty, and they can easily take control of the whole island.
Hero Extreme Godlike moving towards the left side. Crore is probably the vicinity where Hero Extreme Godlike wants to find that stability, and I'm not exactly sure what can be done from them. Victor Sumus dropping all the way towards Fair Pier. And Victor Sumus' performance as well has been quite concerning recently. We're not seeing them pull out those crazy games. We're not seeing that consistency from Victor Sumus as well. And that's been a main concern now.
To be honest, I think so. Always and the boys, they need to buckle themselves up if they are eyeing out for the top 4. Unless they had a plan that, alright, we'll play the playoffs, we'll get the momentum more fine, and we'll try to understand that what they're going to do, because top 4 is looking a little bit far away. Yes, you can collect 40 pointers in one game, but once again, pulling that off is really difficult.
Especially for a team like Victor Sumus, you expect them to be there in the top 4.
Yeah.
The experience they pack.
Yep.
the firepower they have, you expect them to be there in the top 4 amongst the experienced teams.
Agreed.
But especially with how Victoria Sumus is playing, it feels like playoffs are near. They can definitely aim for the top 12 and directly move on towards the semifinals, which makes a lot more sense. But Victoria Sumus' recent performance has been degrading, which is not a good thing. They're dropping down slowly and steadily from the overall standings, and I've been mentioning this like a broken record. They need to amp up that aggression. That's the only thing that's going to save the day for them. And if they do not play aggressive, Victoria Sumus will definitely move on to playoffs. And imagine, you've only got 4 games to dig yourself outside of that dirt.
That's it.
4 games! That is pretty much nothing. It's impossible to prove yourself that well.
I completely agree with that fact. Right now, they're on 13th position, so I know that in this particular game, if they manage to just collect as many points as they can just drag themselves up onto the 12th position. I would love to see how many points difference there is. But for now, Reckoning, they are trying to make a difference against the players of Team Mad King. Spots out a player. Apollo was there. He was safe. The honest is that he has to make a call that where these lads are going. Ninja with grenade might work. Dished out some amount of damage, but it was not perfect though. To be honest, all the numbers and all the loadout, the loadout is favoring the players of Team Mad Kings because look at that. The honest is, he doesn't even have a helmet. Flock does. He had a beautiful level 2 kit, but once again, that won't help you a lot. And you're still fighting outside the blue, outside the safe zone.
You never know, though. It still can be anyone's game. It can also be Reckoning Esports slapping the players of Mad King's back. But as of now, Reckoning Esports! This can be a major mistake! Shadow! This man is getting capitalized by 2 of the players from the side of Reckoning Esports, and Shadow! He already strikes 1 down! He finds the 2nd strike as well! Disgusting stuff from Shadow! A man, the IGL, and he's still making an impact like an assaulter. Insane stuff! But Reckoning Esports, they're not out yet. They've still got 2 more men standing, and they're definitely making a lot of waves. They're putting in a lot of work, doing a lot of damage to the players of Mad Kings. And now the fight's taken down to a 2-on-3. Still a possible way to make a comeback for the players of Reckoning Esports. If they find 1 more knock-in confirmation, that can be a comeback possible. But Metal Esports...
What?
It was actually Shadow from the far fray who's going for those shots. And even Metal Esports is taking fight against Global Esports somewhere else. But hold on, Flock! What was that? Slaps down 2 players instantly. Mad King's in a world of trouble. As now another man. And he's also going to be the final player. The fight's taken down to 1v1. And if Flock ends up winning it, this will be insane. Pulls out the Badger. Now needs a fresh magazine towards the DBS. We'll get the reload as well. Flock... He might just be able to make the impossible come through. Oh my god, Reckoning Esports. How are they able to stabilize themselves and pull themselves back from the graves?
They're still down in the dust. Flock, he needs some more meds. Got some bandages, but those aren't enough. Meanwhile, we can see Team Global Esports. Crore, he lost his life. A Molotov, that was good. Shadow just has that pump shotgun, but he is cooking up a grenade. Flock needs to be careful. One good grenade can easily punch you down. You can get eliminated. Good movement by Flock, understood. And yeah, Shadow is cooking something. Flock already secured 3 finishes and now looking forward for the final one. Spray God, meanwhile, takes the end, and it seems Global Esports, one of your pick, is done, Necro.
Oh my
But meanwhile, look at Flock getting the final frag, and he was angry. That was a clear 1v4 from Flock. Reckoning. They live another day.
Disgusting stuff from Flock. A 4-piece in the fight. And Flock, of course, had a lot of choice words to say once he wiped out Mad Kings. But man, this was disgusting. And even Godlike. With a 3-man squad, Gods, Punk, and Admino. We also did see Global Esports get eliminated quite early from this game. And yeah, my pick, down the train.
Mine too! I opted for Mad Kings, Necro. I think so. We should have
we should have just not said anything.
Yeah.
We went with those 2 teams, and they instantly got eliminated from the game. A bit of a blow, but it's not our fault, guys. Trust me.
To be honest, it's not our fault. But hey, Team Hero Extreme Godlike. Playing with the 3-man lineup. Saw the 4th man. They heard that some of the players are here only. You saw those vehicles. You heard those grenades, those pump shotguns. Punk making a very difficult call. Alright, we have to be careful. After those two particular fights, Necro, we can see a null. Not even a single person creating any type of noise. And that's why this first game is really important, because it just sets the temperament of the day. For now, it's nothing. Every single one of them just focusing on their loot. Meanwhile, some of the players, they lost one of their important players, and some of the teams already playing with a 3-man lineup. So that's a bummer for those teams. But I don't think so. It's going to be a huge problem for them, because Hero Extreme God, already on the 6th position, they're looking solid.
Of course they are. Bare minimum, they will move to the semifinals anyways.
Yeah.
Which is quite a good outing if you think about it. But Metal Esports, I mean, with the way they took a fight against Global Esports, this is how the fight was executed. And Metal Esports, man, what a way to strike down Global Esports.
Yeah.
Back-to-back players just getting eliminated. It was a quick domino effect, and even Spray God in the end. The man just evaporated into thin air. Quick work, light work from Metal Esports. A few teams going for the power play points.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing. And if you think about it,
yep,
these two groups, they do not have any teams with a bounty on top of their head. That is insane.
It is.
Which means, in the upcoming 2 games, there will be all the 4 teams who have a bounty on top of their head playing. Unless we see some sort of shuffles happening in this game.
Yeah, that is the only possibility, Necro. Because 8-bit, they're on the 8th position. Team Hero Extreme Godlike, they're on the 6th position. If they collect major number of points from this particular game and the follow-up one, they will eventually move up and get the bounty on their head. But the circle is really ruthless, Necro. 40R, they're still in the blue. Godlike, still in the blue. So are the players of Team Reckoning. Where are the players of Team TWOB? I would love to see where they have rotated, though. Because they are inside the circle. They are near the shelter and the Jelly. I think so. The call is, let's stay near the shelter only. The players of FS, they got the center of the circle, and they are looking solid. But Team Hero Extreme Godlike, for how long you can hold Godsy, look at him. How many heals does he has?
Yeah.
Only 1 booster and a first aid kit. That's it.
The man's definitely got the center. But as of now, we're all the way back in the blue, and Hero Extreme Godlike still adamant. They want to eliminate the remaining 2 players of Reckoning Esports. They haven't seen anyone leave that hospital building
yet.
And even those 2 players of Reckoning Esports, they're trapped in there. Which kind of blows. 8-bit, as you mentioned, in the smack center. Team Aryan's right next to him. And 8-bit, yes, they do have a great position to play from, but they just need to make sure they're not going to be caught off guard in this position.
Yep.
Because they're soon going to be the center of attraction as well, which is not a good thing. There will be a lot of shots taken against him.
Already playing with the 3-man lineup in this particular map, so already puts you in a great spot. It's better just keep yourself in a safer area. The players of Team 8-bit moving towards the vehicle spawn compound, and yep, they might collect another vehicle. That's going to be a Bucky. Will help you. It's going to be your secondary best friend, but Javin, Godsy shuts him down. Despite, I think so, you heard Punk. He was driving his Bucky around here.
Yeah, that was a bait.
Yeah, and that's why he just came out and saw his own death. Javin once again lost some of his HP, and I don't think so that Flock can save him because he has no heals. Yep. No way, Flock! You will get finished by like this. All right, that's an end.
And he doesn't mind as well.
Yep.
He will accept his fate since they were locked in that hospital for the longest. The final man of Reckoning Esports falls apart too, and Hero Extreme Godlike now will finally start a move. But man, Hero Extreme Godlike was camping for such a long time. They really wanted those 2 elimination points up, but if they would have taken the fight earlier, that could have been 4 points right there. But now Hero Extreme Godlike is just able to squeeze 1 point.
That's it. That's it. For 1 point, you have to wait for this long. And it won't affect much because you'll still remain on the 6th position. You need some major points to just pull yourself up in the 5th in the overall ranking. Meanwhile, 40R taking one of the most longer routes Z-God and Morty sticking together, and the other two players in a different vehicle. Victorious Summers, you talked about them. You mentioned their name. You want to see them do some crazy stuff. Right now, controlling a dip is the perfect answer. Once again, always this is a ballsy move, Necro, because you are technically in the center of the circle.
It indeed is. In the smack center. That's how Victorious Sumus likes to play. But as you mentioned, it's quite a gutsy play since they're so exposed. And they've only got a few regions to play with. I'm not a big fan of this position. I know the moment the teams start to rack up around them, everyone will take those shots against him, and Victorious Sumus will have nowhere to go. It's not a good spot to lie in at all. And this is one of the main reasons why Victorious Sumus has been struggling recently in the Week 3. And these struggles are because Victorious Sumus isn't really prioritizing the fights anymore. They're constantly playing for the placement points. But at least they're on the 13th spot.
Yeah.
Which is not that bad. I still remember yesterday at the start of the day, they were around that 16th spot, so they have taken a decent leap in the overall standings. So Victorious Sumus, I'm pretty sure they're aiming for the semifinals, which makes a lot of sense. But I just hope in the semifinals they amp up the aggression.
They really should. If they really want to be part of the grand finals. If they are looking forward to lift up this trophy. For now, the players of the Metal Esports spots out the players of OnePlus K9, as well as they also spot out Aryan. Players of Team Aryan and Shadow. Look at him, utilizing the pump shot into its perfection. And after this, we saw the annihilation from Flock, switching to the FPV mode, shutting down one of the player, and then instantly finishing him off. And then we saw both the players getting instantly pounded down by Flock, and then punching one player to its death. Flock enjoying the game. And we saw the final finishing move, right? Dropping down your enemy.
Yeah.
That's the way you play.
That was disgusting. The presence of mind on this guy. It's insane. The surrounding awareness. It's crazy. Flock, of course, got that entire fight converted, but the main problem is now they've only got 8 points in their pocket. Which is not bad points if you think about it.
Yeah.
But still, given the position that Reckoning Esports is in, just 8 points are not enough. You need more than 10 points every game, and that's the only possible way you can make a comeback in the overall standings. Which is too much to ask for, I understand, but they have put themselves in that situation.
Exactly. You're the one who created the question for yourself, and you're the one who have to answer them. So, I don't know how they will pull themselves up. Right now, Reckoning they're on the 20th spot. About to match the total number of points against the players of Mad Kings. But for now, we saw the circle. FS controlling that circle. They are in the center. 4TR. They took the longer route, but they are getting favored because of that. The backlines is completely cleared. Ronan trying to scout out some of the players in Metal Venoms. Oh, this is also a very crazy move because one grenade and two of the players can instantly get knocked because the space between the players of Metal is not that huge. You don't have a comfortable spot in Roman, he knows this is the perfect spot. Spots out at least one player, peppering down some bullets, not enough. Meanwhile, Likitha Esports Smoker taken down by Aryan. Seems both the teams, they are also engaging in a fight.
Indeed. And FS Esports is on the move. Looking at FS Esports and they're standing in the overall standings too. Who would have thought a team with such caliber is all the way down in the overall standings on the 22nd spot? In the bottom three, it's insane. FS Esports' recent performances have been great before BGMS. But the moment they stepped inside of BGMS, something happened to them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to hold on to that thought. Team Aryan. They're on the prowl against a lot of those teams that were there in the front, but Team Aryan, they decided to take a U-turn and back away. A lot of shots are taken around the fray. A lot of teams, they might just be in a world of trouble. We're seeing those individual frags as well collected from a few. Even Metal Esports also is able to find a stray. That Starboy from Likitha Esports down. He's out in the open. Even Mighty Los Hermanos, they came in from the back to try and get the confirmations. But 8-Bit, they're starting to fall apart. And Raiden, oh my god! He gets confirmed, but you've still got Gods who gets knocked out. But in the end, Even the final man of 8-bit gets claimed by Hero Extreme Godlike, but the fight's not done yet. Team Aryan, they come in with a massive third party, and now Team Aryan, they want to get their hands on the Smack Center as well. I told you, soon this compound is going to be the center of attraction, and that's what is exactly happening.
Now it's only Punk alive. He's all alone on his own. Lobbed the grenade, and it was perfect! He knew that Devotee will be there. Punk managed to get at least one knock and finish him off. Eventually, it was none other than Magic from Likitha Esports stole that finish away from Hero Extreme Godlike's Punk, but Aryan managed to take control of this compound. But you lost one of your player. Hero Extreme Godlike bites the dust at the 12th position. Now this compound is really a hot spot because all the team, it seems, they are looking forward to control that particular compound. You got still 30 minutes left on the clock. FS managed to get at least one frag, but Necro, this circle is really, really annoying, and fights will get a lot messy than you can imagine. Because it's completely out in an open.
They will. FS Esports in the Smack Center. Now, FS Esports will have that sword on top of their necks. They will need to play it a little bit more careful. Roman's 2 out in the open, 2 exposed. I'm not a big fan of this position, but let's see what Roman's got in mind. The man's also the IGL. He's got the big brains at the end. Team Aryan, yes, they did go for that fight against the players of 8-bit and Hero Extreme Godlike, but they were not able to reap the benefits that well. And especially for Team Aryan, now they need to find a decent spot inside of the circle. It's not a good spot to be in, and they're going to straight up make a pounce on top of the players of Metal Esports. Somehow Henry's alive, but he did catch a lot of hurt upon himself, but the man's not knocked yet. Aryan himself gets knocked out in the back lines though, and Metal Esports, now they're in massive shambles. The players losing their lives as if FS Esports from the back knocking on the doors.
FS was trying to hunt this team down from a very long time, and now they finally got a chance. Meanwhile, they also put Team Aryan in a very weird spot. One of the player, Tommy, is still there, but Roman, he needs to make sure that he can connect at least one of the grenades so that the players of Metal will get eliminated. The spray was perfect, but the retaliation from Tommy was even better. The grenade puts him in a very weird spot. Just got 1 HP left. It's time to heal, but he's still lobbing a lot of grenades. And look at Lovish saving his teammate down, but unfortunately unable to do that. The grenade was so good!
God.
Another one! But meanwhile, we saw Los Hermanos. That entry was flawless. Tommy, before going down, he puts FS in a really, really bad spot. And now Los Hermanos making sure they will enjoy all this loot. Team Aryan on the other side, they also get eliminated. 4TR looking bad, but they managed to shut down the players of Team True Rippers.
Solid stuff from them. But Genesis Esports, now they step inside of the fray. 4TR, they're starting to face the brunt. Already losing out on one of the players. The second man is still alive all the way in the back lines, but even he's getting constantly bombarded by utilities. Genesis Esports, they want to make sure that they're putting an end to the entirety of 4TR and their bloodline. As even Pain falls down, Z-God's now going to be the final glimmer of hope standing for 4TR. And even the man's prone, because Z-God knows he will not stand a chance against the entirety of Genesis Esports. And recently, Genesis Esports, they have gotten their lost form back. Mighty Los Hermanos in the far fray, taking those shots. As FS Esports, they fade away towards the compound they already had. They back away towards a safety spot. Lovish, Levi, and Godix next to each other. FS Esports, they're not doing too hot in the overall standings, but whatever they've got, they just need to make the most out of it. And Mighty Los Hermanos, the fact that they're still alive with 5 elimination points, not looking too bad in the overall standings as well, that's a massive thing.
The difference between all the teams alive right now is humongous. There's only one team who's in the top 5 that's alive. That's going to be Genesis. And after that, we can see Victorious Summers on the 13th position. K9 on the 14th, and then the list goes on. So this is the fight. This is the time where all the teams who are on the 2nd and the 3rd page, they can easily make themselves up and at least try to climb up the ladder. Make sure they will at least get on the 2nd page of the overall ranking. But meanwhile, OnePlus K9 Esports, place your bets. They are looking solid. They got the circle, but they already got one frag, and that's it. For now, they have to work around that. But Thunder, he's not in a good form. Got knocked out by the players of Team Genesis, and we all know these lads, they are ruthless. 4TR, meanwhile, takes an exit. Z-Gods, he got eliminated right away. Gravity's grenade was good. And even the Molotov, the follow-up is even better. Will he able to get a knock? No, Cheyenne still surviving, but Gravity, he knows where the other players are. Uwe's just hiding beside that buggy. But that's not enough, and Gravity spots out Jahan, and yeah, he is knocked out. Hunters looking solid.
This is what I'm talking about. Victor Sumus, they like to play it passive, but for some reason they're not good at closing things out. They always mess up when they're extremely close towards the chicken dinner. In the top 5, in the top 6, Victor Sumus gets eliminated. And that's a massive blunder. Did not even have a lot of elimination points before they got eliminated from this game.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a concerning thing for Victor Sumus. 0 elimination points, by the way. And that's been the main problem. Imagine if they would have taken fights in the power play. They would have had a lot of points. And coupled up with these placement points, Victor Sumus would have already been in the top 12. But for now, FS Esports, they've got the prime spot. The only compound that's available inside of the circle. And they can dominate anyone that stands around it.
But they are surrounded by enemies. OnePlus K9 just right behind them, and on the sidelines you can see MyG Los Hermanos is there. The players of MyG Los Hermanos, they are trying to close in the distance because they need some part of the safe zone so that they can claim it. Ash meanwhile bites the dust. Beast knocks him down. Phoenix Esports, they are still alive. They just only got one finish. The circle is still favoring all the teams. The circle is still favoring all the players. But meanwhile, Omega managed to shut down Urchit. Ash, he got confirmed. And Ninja Boy, his grenade could do wonders. Goten needs to be careful, and the grenade was just so good. That's why Ronnie lost half of his HP. Omega reviving his own teammate, Ninja Boy. The moment they will get the revival done, they can easily get back into the fights. With Genesis, it seems they might sandwich the players of Team Phoenix. Grenade looking good. Hunters is also killing one of his own. Goten, meanwhile, managed to shut down Ninja Boy again.
Oh my god, the amount of utilities that are being tossed against Jutin. The man's not going to stand a chance soon. He's getting bombarded by utilities, but Jutin's position is now noticed. The man, he instantly popped up and got knocked out. Genesis Esports, it feels like now they're pretty much like the cleanup crew, cleaning out the grounds in the open. K9 Esports still standing alive. And K9, they've got all the 4 players on the block as well.
With the split, this could go against you. You have to be careful. You have to be really known about your surroundings. Otherwise, you could be the next target of the players of Team Genesis. K9 was one of your picks. Genesis was one of mine. And Genesis looking in a really good form. Meanwhile, FS, they're still alive. The compound they were holding in, looking strong and providing them a lot of cover. B spots out the players of Team Genesis roaming around out in an open. 14 more seconds, and then we'll witness the next zone, the next stage.
This is interesting from K9 Esports. They've made a bit of a switch up in the playing 4. Slug is sitting out, and Aki is now there in the playing 4. Which is interesting, and K9 Esports surprisingly are doing pretty good. But Genesis Esports, they've lost out in Hunters. The man's knocked out. Revival, I highly doubt it's possible now. Omega, he runs over the man. The confirmation's going to be followed up as well. Genesis Esports in shambles. They've still got 8 finishes to work with, but K9 Esports, the synergy that they're showcasing in this game is insane. All the 4 players on the same step. They know exactly what they need to do. They've got a solid split they're playing with, and they pretty much seem like they're controlling the entirety of the game's tempo. And soon FS Esports will be forced outside their comfort zone as well.
And then we'll see how much comfortable the players actually were and are. Because then you will be forced to take a lot of fight. Beast on the other side, his crosshair was perfect, and now looking out for another team. A very interesting move by the players of Team MyG Los Hermanos. The spray was good, but not perfect. Beast, he needs a knockout. 1 minute 24 seconds, and then we'll witness the zone 8 stage. Again, a lot of bullets being dished out to the players of Los Hermanos. The smoke was there to provide some fake cover, but Beast just better with his M4. The thrown down shots were just perfect. Meanwhile, FS, they are also trying to move inside the circle, but Lavish managed to take down one more player. Eva dropped down. Shadow got confirmed by Beast. And right now, K9 Esports looking in a really solid form. Lavish managed to steal that pick away. And Evil got confirmed. And meanwhile, you can see the players of Genesis, they are actually really silent.
They indeed are. But FS Esports, this 3-man squad, let's see what they can actually do. How did they lose out on Roman? That's my question.
Yeah.
FS Esports, there's no business of losing out on any players because you had the only compound in the final few moments and you're still messing things up. I highly doubt with a performance like this, FS Esports can secure the chicken dinner. You've got K9 Esports on your tail, and K9 Esports has the maximum advantage. They've got all the 4 players standing, and man advantage is probably the best advantage you can have. FS Esports, this is one of those battles that FS Esports will probably not win, but they're still going for it no matter what. Even the Blues going to be on the move, and that's going to apply a lot of pressure now. FS Esports, the final 2 men remaining, Levi, he's also catching a lot of hurt from the backlines. But Genesis Esports, now they start taking shots against K9 too. Ninja Boy gets knocked out, K9 Esports not feeling too good.
Now this is the perfect time to strike the players down because they are busy fighting against each other, and at this particular time, Genesis Esports can collect as many points as they want. Los Hermanos, they're still in the game, they're still in the top 4, but I can't say the same thing for the players of Team FS because it seems they got eliminated right away. Genesis Esports, a grenade being lobbed, they dodged it. Omega making sure that he will provide some good amount of cover to his teammates. Ninja Boy is back on his feet, and it seems Aki, they just filling in, and it seems he's looking good. Look at the spray from Aki, Gravity barely surviving. The reload was really uncalled for, but you gotta do that. You have to make sure you got enough bullets. Gravity guy is not healing. Does he have enough health? It doesn't seem like that. He does have some bandages. Yash on the other side clearing out some more angles, but Los Hermanos, they're still there.
Los Hermanos still alive for the 2-man squad. And the best possible thing Los Hermanos can do is let Genesis Esports and K9 Esports lock horns and then maybe be a part of that third party. But for now, Los Hermanos, all they need to do is just be quiet. Do not partake in the action. Do not partake or contribute to the chaos. If you do, you will be the one to get eliminated first. Because right now, Genesis Esports are definitely getting dismantled. Stopped in their tracks, Omega. The man does not really have a lot of HP, but still Omega's going to be the first one to make that pounce. And K9 Esports, things looking good and dandy as of now. Gravity falls back, utilities tossed.
Perfect.
And Genesis Esports, they lose out on the second man as well. K9, this can be a flawless conversion. And yes, it is. All the 4 players still surviving on the block, but now against the 2 remaining men of MyG Los Hermanos, and they can't do a lot. MyG Los Hermanos outnumbered, K9 having the maximum advantage, but Colin, he still strikes back. That's Ninja Boy down. K9 with a 3-man squad now. They need to make the most out of it. Ninja Boy, he's knocked out, but he's not completely out yet. Revival can still be there, but the Blue's going to be on the move, and going for the revival on Ninja Boy does not make a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
This fight needs to be executed in a 2-on-3 fashion. MyG Los Hermanos still can clutch it out. The elimination point gets secured by Colin. K9 Esports, the utilities that are being tossed against him, they're really starting to put in a lot of work. Omega moves out in the open. He wants to make some moves against MyG Los Hermanos. He wants to make sure that the opponents will panic. But MyG Los Hermanos, they're playing this with utmost discipline as they find 2 quick knocks. K9 down to just 1 man, Aki, and even he gets eliminated. That was a massive throw from K9. They messed up big time against MyG Los Hermanos. A 2v4 converted in the heroic style.
They were about to get the chicken dinner, but Los Hermanos was so silent, but eventually they woke up and chose violence. Ninja Boy, after he got knocked out, Aki and Beast, they were completely unaware what to do in that situation. Omega eating a lot of utilities, but still surviving. The moment he got knocked out, it seems K9 got dropped out.
How was that 2v4 executed?
It should have been impossible.
That tandem nade, those 2 nades found the 2 instant pieces right there was the demise of K9 Esports, and that's what happens when you move together, especially in end moments like this. You're supposed to split yourself apart. You're supposed to confuse the opponents a little bit, but K9 Esports played too predictable, and the utilities from Los Hermanos were perfect, precise, on point. And K9 Esports stood no chance against those utilities. Soon we'll have a look at the final blow, and that's where things will be clarified even more. When we did see a fight between K9 Esports and Genesis Esports, it was a flawless conversion since the utilities weren't finding the precise mark. But then later on, when moment came to it where K9 Esports needed to close things out against MyG Los Hermanos, that's where things got a little bit confusing. Colin was able to find the first, but then later on the conversion was flawless. But for now, let's move on towards the stage with a quick little interview.
Karan, how did you pull this off? Genesis and you had K9, they had the man advantage, and yet you walk away with the chicken dinner.
हम लोग पहले लाइक बाउंड्री के लिए खेल रहे थे, अभी हम लोग चिकन फोकस कर रहे हैं। तो या ये हमारा गेम स्टाइल है बेसिक, तो इसमें हम लोग या अच्छा खेलेंगे। वही
रनिंग इवेंट में एक्सपेक्टेशंस बहुत हाई हैं, लेकिन जस्ट लुकिंग एट द वे थिंग्स आर गोइंग वो अभी तक पॉसिबल हुआ नहीं है।
हाँ, अभी तक हम लोग जस्ट ट्राई कर रहे थे। लाइक इसमें बाउंड्री पॉइंट है ना, पहले 2 वीक हम लोग बाउंड्री के लिए खेल रहे थे, अभी जस्ट हमारा पहले का गेम स्टाइल वो जस्ट कॉप अप कर रहे हैं और डिनर के लिए खेल रहे हैं। तो ये हमसे हो पाएगा। लाइक वी आर कॉन्फिडेंट इन दिस गेम स्टाइल।
इस इवेंट में वो पॉसिबल कैसे हो रहा है? एंड आर यू आईजेलिंग?
शैडो आईजेल है
पक्का?
हाँ।
ओके, एंड इस इवेंट में वो पॉसिबल कैसे हो पा रहा है?
क्या कैसे क्या?
जो आपने भी बोला कि पिछले टूर्नामेंट्स में वो पॉसिबल नहीं हो पा रहा था।
पिछले वीक में हम लोग बाउंड्री के लिए खेल रहे थे 2 वीक।
Has that changed now?
हाँ, अभी हम लोग जस्ट डिनर के लिए खेल रहे हैं, बाउंड्री नहीं चाहिए हमको।
बस भाई डिनर के लिए खेल रहे हैं, बाउंटी नहीं चाहिए। Congratulations to you and Los Hermanos. K9, Genesis, ज्यादा प्लेयर्स एक्टिव थे, 2 के साथ they were creating mayhem. We take a break and come back.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the Wicked Ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Join Google Play Points, the loyalty program that offers you exciting benefits. Now earn points on every purchase. Play more. Level up to gold and platinum. And unlock exclusive rewards.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to BGMS Masters Series. This is the 3rd week, and we just saw a crazy 2v4 between the players of Los Hermanos versus the players of K9 Esports. My name is Shivansh Phoenix, and alongside me, it's going to be Miss Shadow. And Shadow, what a crazy game. You know what? Me and Necro, we had our bets placed onto the players of Team Genesis as well as K9 Esports. I opted for Genesis, he opted for K9 Esports. And we thought that these two teams will get the chicken dinner. Guess what? They end up on the 3rd and the 2nd spot.
So clearly, hence proved you guys are the one jinxing the team, especially you.
Especially me?
You saw what happened with Genesis. At least K9, they have good points.
At least, I can say, you know what? Genesis managed to at least get some of the finish points. Yeah.
Some.
That was the key word. I agree. Also, one more thing. we named two teams that they might end up in the top 3. Guess what? They were the first team who got eliminated. It was Mad King and Reckoning. It was me and Necro. It was not solely me. But for now, to be honest, I'm so happy for these players. And also, I'm really amazed by that interview that Kalan said, I don't want any bounty. I just want chicken dinners.
If you keep getting the chicken dinners, bounty obviously comes on your head if you're in the top 4. Because if you're getting constant chicken dinners every day, eventually you will catapult yourself in the top 4. That is a byproduct of chicken dinner.
But we talk about who will be the MVP, Kalan himself. My G, Los Hermanos, this guy is actually crazy. That one grenade changed the whole course of the final fight. 6 finishes, 55% contribution, and that seems to manage to get almost 11 finishes or something like that, right, Shadow? But to be honest, this game was actually good because we were missing Los Hermanos. We actually thought that what happened to this whole team. Let's take a look at the stars of the match, and it's Evil getting the best companion award.
Kalan looks like a hero from a South Indian movie, and since we have a Esports Blockbuster Master Series, so definitely he was a hero today. At least in the first game, he certainly was. And if you remember day before yesterday also, in one Erangel where Maiji got their first chicken dinner, Kalan was a hero in that situation as well. So whenever Maiji is getting a chicken dinner, Kalan always have a lot to put on the table.
Yeah, he certainly does. But let's take a look at the OnePlus never settle movements, because there were some times where Reckoning was never settled by the approach of Mad Kings. Punk tried his level best in Likitha Esports. Magic managed to steal that finish from Punk, but victorious summers. I'm really unhappy, and as Necro just mentioned, right, they know how to take control of the circle, they know how to take control of the map, but they don't know how to take control perfect fight. And this was the moment where we saw K9 manages to shut down the whole squad. But Spy, this grenade was beautiful. Before that, Kalan also lobbed one of his own, and Aki, he was playing in Shadow, and he was unable to just get the result in his favor. And you can see Beast was the only one having that smoke because he knows what just happened.
Well, certainly he really knows what really happened in that situation, but I know K9 Omega is not going to be really happy because it looked like it is going to be a chicken dinner game for the players of K9, but getting 16 points, I think that should do the job. But LHS, these 21 points are definitely going to help LHS catapult themselves in the overall ranking. Genesis with 13 points, a decent game. Medal. So many third parties, fourth parties were coming in. It looked like everyone is just focused onto the players of Medal Esports. But 11 points still coming out. An early exit, a decent game for Medal. Reckoning finally, once again, showing the signs of life. 8 points to their name. FS with 8, Mad Kings with 4, Hero Extreme Godlike with just 4.
And that 8-point, that particular 8-pointer goes to Flaw. He managed to get the whole squad of Mad Kings down with his incredible skills and the perfect weapon. But let's take a look at the overall ranking, the overall leaderboard. Genesis managed to topple down the players of iQOO Soul from the top 4, and now they will get bounty on their head. Eventually, we know that they are still one of the finest teams. These teams will get another chance. Hero Extreme Godlike, they just played only 43 matches, so as well as the players of Team Genesis Esports, but nothing as much as a huge change, especially other than that, Medal also just climbing up the ladder. But K9 Esports toppling down two of the big names, Marcus Gaming and Victorious Sumus.
VS is also one of those names which really needs to pull their socks because they are sitting on the 14th spot. If they really are eyeing for the semi-finals or the grand finals, they need to go for those 4v4 fights in the playoff, in the power play itself. Phoenix Esports, once again, a name which has been struggling in the overall ranking. Goten is one of those players who will never lose that 1v1 fight. And despite having such a good player in your lineup, Phoenix Esports is actually the one struggling.
They were really unfavored in a lot of fights. But you know what? To be honest, I think so they will prepare for the next match. But it's going to be Miramar. We'll bring that up after a very short break.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag. We have got Snapdragon 8 Series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, 0 stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day for OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
Alright, class. For today's lesson,
I already taught her something.
What Mighty did in the previous game is definitely a wicked upgrade. Just like the Raider, iQOO brings the segment first GTT cluster with 85 plus connected features, best in class talk, and now 9 killer colors. Shivansh,
Yeah.
that was definitely a wicked performance which Mighty pulled in the previous one. But according to you, who is going to get the wicked upgrade in the next map of Miramar?
I think so. It's going to be Hero Extreme Godlike. That's what I am just hoping for. Because in the previous match, they were playing with the Dreaming lineup. But hey, Johnny, he's back on the stage. Jonathan, he's back in the server. We would love to see the whole squad just getting the players down and just celebrating and being very comfortable. But if you want to be comfortable, if you want to be unstoppable, and if you don't want to settle, go for the OnePlus CE 120 FPS gaming, the best in segment and capable of, just pushing and playing the BGMS in 120 FPS, monster battery and segments, biggest VC cooling, so you don't have to worry about your phone getting heated up, especially in those final fights. But in the previous map, we saw how True Rippers, they faced the brunt. They got eliminated instantly while they were trying to face the players of Team Phoenix. But 30 more seconds, Shadow, and we will move forward with the next map of the day. It's going to be Miramar. In the previous map, Los Hermanos managed to steal the show as well as steal the chicken dinner from the players of Team K9. Will they be able to bounce back and take their revenge or not? We'll find that out in the next map. The plane path is really, really interesting because it starts from the northern side of Impala and heading towards El Pozo. Kinda dividing the whole map into 2 equal halves, but still looking solid.
Quite a decent flight path, like you mentioned, Shivansh, that in Miramar, flight path is something which is really important, and if it is bisecting the map in 2 equal halves, that's the best possible flight path you can have. But for now, the power play is something which most of the teams are still eyeing for, because if you remember in the last Erangel, so many teams were going for the early aggression. Just like you pointed out, Mad Kings were also the first one to be eliminated. So maybe this time Mad Kings will try to avoid the early drop clash. But for now, we have got the players of Phoenix Esports, a team which is actually struggling in the overall ranking. Hero Extreme Godlike in the previous one, all they got was just 4 total points. So the map of Miramar is the map where even the players of Hero Extreme Godlike might be looking for some sort of redemption. But for now, that split drop around the city of Impala, so that means no early drop clash for Hero Extreme Godlike, and same goes for the players of Phoenix Esports, because they are also heading towards the side of Piotr Pirasio.
Yeah, they're just going safe right now. Can't see a drop clash between these two lads, but we can see a Picardo drop clash for TR versus Global Esports in the previous map. Global Esports were instantly got pinned down by the opponents and they face the brunt. The circle is really interesting, favoring the northern side of the map. So Victorious Summers, they'll be very happy. Mad Kings, they'll be very happy. But can't say the same thing for the players of Team Global Esports and 4TR. Look at the screens right now. Too close to each other. Yes, so far. Global Esports Spray God, we all know the capability of this lad. Got the perfect weapon right now, but in terms of loadout, he has nothing but Oways. Wait a minute. He got eliminated right away. You lost your IGL. And now Victorious Summers instantly starting the game on a back foot. Love to see how they will bounce back.
The fact that VS has always been avoiding those early fights, they tend to go for the passive play style, and that really doesn't work in the favor of VS when they are forced to take an early drop clash, which is happening against the players of Mad Kings. But for now, Global Esports on our screens and 4TR. This is also one of the rivalry which we have been seeing since week 1. Global Esports 3 players, Spray God, Viron, Troy, Viron and Spray God in the same building where 3 players of 4TR. The major problem with these apartment fights is that it tends to prolong a lot. It all depends on the one major decision of the player that we are going to push against the opponent team or the initial connection if you can get against your foes. But Medal and Likitha Esports, even they are also having a very early fight where Likitha Esports is actually the one on the receiving end.
That is true, and it doesn't seem good for them, Shadow. But for now, Starboy, he's too close to his own demise. But oh, the grenade, it was not good. Meanwhile, Aimbot got knocked out right away. Team Metal, they have to make sure that they will bounce back. Altu on the other side, he loads his weapon. The players of Likitha Esports barging in. Altu baiting out for his teammates, gets one knock, thrown down, about to get the second one, but no. Inferno was just better than Tommy. He was just waiting for his turn to arrive, but nah, it's too late. You have to fight back now. It all comes down to him, as well as his pump shotgun. Moving forward, jumps out, gets spotted out by the enemy. Switching around, changing his position, ignoring the fight, the revival there happening. He has to be good, but he was not. He needs to be prepared, but he certainly was not. And Likitha Esports managed to take down one team, and that is none other than Medal. They had a good game in the previous map. Pushed themselves on the 7th position, but now they lost their life. And look at the position of Veron! I thought he got dropped, and I thought he might get finished off from the fall damage, but nah. He's pulled himself up.
Yeah, Viron was just trying to reposition himself, but look at the HP where Viron is down to a very low HP. Spray God finally pushes on to the plus of 4TR. So much damage has been dealt, and in fact received by Spray God also. 4TR. The major question is, do these players have enough first stage? Because Morty is also down to 10 HP. Even Viron and Spray God combined, they have 20 HP. So the entire situation is not really looking promising for the players of Global Esports. Kind of a stalemate situation now. Spray God, yes, he does have a first aid, patches himself. Even Morty is also trying to do the same thing. But here's the thing, 4TR is one of those teams which is capable of doing a 1v4. We have seen Inf God do a 1v4. We have seen Z God do a 1v4 against the players of 8-bit, and 8-bit was a bounty team in that particular match. So 4TR is capable of individual heroics, and so is Troy and Spray God as well. Even Viron. When these two strong lineups go up against each other, especially in a 4v4 fight, you can't really predict what the outcome is going to be.
But this fight is taking a lot of the time of these players. So long that you haven't engaged in a fight yet. Thunder meanwhile lost his own life, Pain his life, repositioning himself up once again. This fight taking a lot of patience, testing out these players completely. Sticking bomb being utilized, but once again has to have no use to those. Pain his life once again getting spotted out by the enemy. Fortunately, these two teams, they are inside the circle, but they don't have the perfect loadout. Pain his life, he doesn't even have helmet. Shadow, that is a problem there. Spray God still on 30% of his HP, 40% of his HP. The grenade could work. Meanwhile, Morty bites the dust, getting knocked out. But on the other side, Z God retaliates back. And now, finishing him off, Spray God instantly getting finished. And Troy, he was trying to pull off a miracle, but unfortunately that was not enough. Pain his life, once again fighting back, and the whole squad of Global Esports getting punched down by 4TR. And once again, Global Esports, they got eliminated, Shadow. In the previous map, the same thing happened, and you can see Anif God saying, stop and leave the server.
A clean flush of Global Esports, all thanks to Pain is Live. The last two eliminations were really important for him to get, and Pain is Live held onto his grounds and was able to completely dismantle the entirety of Global Esports. An early exit for Global Esports is definitely going to hurt them because they are sitting at 9th spot.
Yeah.
And Global Esports is one of those teams which has shown so much heroic, so many good performances in this tournament, but they still haven't made it to the top 4, even for once.
That is the problem, right?
And the major reason for that is the inconsistency.
Agreed. In the previous two map, how many points do you got? Like what? Not even more than 5? Take an elimination so early that you don't even know how to bounce back. In this map, in this particular Miramar itself, an instant wipeout. Eventually, you tried. I'll say that's a very good point, but once again, that was not enough. On the other side, two players from Genesis, they are towards Torre Umuda, and the other two players, they are near Campo Militar, completely northeastern side of the map, and they are enjoying their life. Because Shadow, first of all, Genesis is the only team got bounty on their head. They got the map control. They already got some of the best loot compared to the other players who are still rotating and trying to micromanage themselves. K9 Esports in the previous map end up in the second position, lost to 2v4. No Molotov as such in the back of Ninja Boy, but you can see the loadout looks really, really solid. 3 first aid, 15 bandages, 3 grenades, 2, 1 stun even. So I think so that's really good. But still, some of the players, they need to enter inside the circle. One of them, it's going to be True Rippers, taking some amount of damage of the blue. Cyrax near lockout. Where the circle will move? I think so, northern side. Yes, it does.
Finally, a good prediction coming in, Shivansh.
Yeah.
You just only jinx the team. You don't jinx the circle.
I'm favoring Genesis, you know.
Yeah, that is what I was trying to say. You wanted a northern circle because Genesis is all the way towards the northern side of the map. Yes. And Genesis is also one of those teams which has been struggling in the recent days. So this northern shift of the circle is definitely going to help the case of Genesis. But K9, they are right at the dead smack center of the circle.
And kudos to Punk too, because look at him. Where he is leading his team too, towards the center of the circle too.
I think Punk will not actually go for the center control. Yeah. Rather, he'll stick to the uphill areas towards the eastern side of the map. Somewhere towards the side of El Hazar. Because if you notice, Hero Extreme Godlike, they love to be the king of the hills. If not, at least they'll go for a safe compound. But the thing is, his former friend, Lala, and the boys are also in the close proximity.
They're just beside them.
Yeah.
And especially in the off maps, right? Miramar and Sanhok. It seems like both of the teams somehow manage to find themselves too close to each other. And they tend to, just fight against each other and collect some more points. But eventually it turns out to be Mad Kings be the better one, right? In means of the fight, so it seems. Let's see if that's going to happen or not. Or if Mad Kings take the longer route. But Genesis, they also decided that, alright, it's our time to move inside the circle. And look at that green dot towards the eastern side of the map. That's the players of Team True Rippers. They are also moving Shadow. And they are also taking the truck's top route. It may, just help them to move towards Al Azhar and take the control of the eastern side of the map. But for now, if they are not quick enough, Victorious Summers can take control of the eastern side of the map. But a silent. That's it. No more fights for now.
Everyone is just waiting for the next circle shift. Few teams are actually going for the late rotation, just like the plus of 4TR from the side of Picardo. Then you mentioned about True Rippers and VS also being in the city of El Hazar. Mad Kings, they're actually sticking for the eastern control of the circle, so that means they can actually try and gatekeep few of the teams. But this particular fight, Global Esports and 4TR, this was actually a very prolonged fight, and Pain is Live actually held on to his ground and he was able to deal with Z-God, and after that Mane got a confirmation point onto Mane as well. In fact, was able to deal with Troy as well. So this guy single-handedly did so much in that situation. Yes, Z-God was trying to boost the confidence of his teammate, but the fact remains the same that 4TR is also on the struggling side. They are sitting on the 14th spot, and that's not really a good news for the players of 4TR. Even they are trying to bounce back in the game. But the next circle shift is going to be a really important one, and the circle takes an eastern shift. It is actually favoring the players of Phoenix Esports, and to a certain point, it is favoring the players of Hero Extreme Godlike as well. Hero Extreme Godlike all the way towards the northern side have a good control, but the problem is they might actually clash against the players of Genesis, as Genesis is also trying to traverse from the northern side.
Not only Genesis, Shadow, they can easily get pinchered and sandwiched between the players of Mad Kings and Team Reckoning, and it seems it's going to be Team Reckoning first. Jonathan with the golden grenade managed to shut down one player, Bunk saving his life, and shuts down Dionysus. That's the first frag. Jonathan peeks out, managed to take down a lot of the damage, dish out a lot of damage, switched to his S12K, but instantly got punished from the high ground. That's going to be Mad Kings. Javin taking the elimination, and eventually that was Genesis. And as I just mentioned, Shadow, you can easily get pinched by a lot of these teams, and they did. It was Reckoning who lost the whole squad, and Team Hero Extreme Godlike just dropped down only two of the players, Edmino and Punk. Johnny scored only one frag. Godzi, instant elimination for him. But now it's time to save their ground. It's time to hold these compounds, because you are in the safe spot of the circle. 13 teams, 43 players. And Shadow, 8-bit, meanwhile, all these fights, they are on the 8th position, and it's just perfect for them.
But you know what, Shivansh?
Yeah.
There is something for our audience as well. I wish I could see the POV of the players. So that is why we have got a multicam feature for the first time only on Jio Hotstar. And you can actually watch the POV of Hero Extreme Godlike, Team Orangutan and your favorite team. So go ahead on Jio Hotstar and watch your favorite team POV and also the map feed. But for now, we also have the players of Mad Kings and VS, where Cheyenne is all by himself. And the entire team of Mad Kings is actually approaching him. A 1v4 situation. So close. Cheyenne gets a better out of Apollo. Can he get the second one? That's the main question. Shots being fired from the S12K. Only 2 bullets remaining. He has to reposition. But the entire situation looks like it is going against the player. Cheyenne. He repositions, goes outside, knows exactly where the players of Mad Kings are. But can he actually get the knock? Tries to go for the jump shot, but seems like he won't be able to do that, as Shadow will put an end to Cheyenne. Valiant effort, but VS once again takes an early exit on the 13th spot. But Mad Kings, they have got 5 finish points, but look at that, Genesis also approaching them.
They have to be prepared for this fight too. The Molotov wasn't even perfect, and now Genesis Hunters will able to get that knock, but nah, he was not even prepared too. The Molotov might burn down Shadow. Shadow barely surviving on sliver of his HP. Got taken down instantly, and Genesis Esports now pushing and also putting to an end to the life of Shadow. Apollo healed himself up. The grenade could work. The grenade was good, but not perfect. Apollo out in an open, no cover for him. The smokes will provide some of the extra cover, but the players of Genesis, they are looking solid and really, really good. The grenades, they were perfectly synchronized. And Hunters, this might work. Apollo barely surviving on 1% of his HP. Hunters with the follow-up might knock him down, but it was none other than gravity from distance.
Mad Kings, that 2v2 split is not really working in their favor, because like you mentioned, Apollo has been brought down to his knees, and the rescue mission at this point is going to be so risky for the players of Mad Kings. So I think Apollo will be put out of his misery by Hunters of Genesis. 3 finishes at the start of the game. I think Genesis, it's a good start, but the Genesis we saw in week 2, especially Hunters, seems like we are seeing a different Genesis. The map of Miramar could be the comeback game for the players of Genesis at this point. But looking at the circle, I think Maiji, they do have a good control towards this off-center with a good compound, even 4TR towards the southern side. But everyone is trying to stick to the edge of the circle.
Yeah.
Barring 1 or 2 teams, everyone is eyeing for the periphery of the circle. But Hero Extreme Godlike, let's talk about them. They were looking so promising. They had the entire northern control. They had a good compound to their name. But now since they are also left with only 2 players, seems like even Godlike is not having the best of the time today.
For now, yes. That is certainly true, Shadow. But 2 of the players, they can still do wonders. They can still pull out a rabbit from their hat. But Inferno, he got instantly finished off by the players of Team 8-bit. And I think so that was the first frag. Yep, from the players of Team 8-bit playing with the 3-man lineup now. They're going to make sure that whatever fight they will engage in, they have to make sure at least get the final start. Starboy, he tanked a lot of damage, but that pump shotgun helps him. Som, who's not that quick to help out his teammate, now switching his direction and switching his instant approach to eliminate the player. And yes, he will do that, Shadow, but once again, not enough. Som got 2 frags, but lost 2 of his teammates. And now he is alone. Once again, getting a lot of damage. Got stuck between these vehicles. Som thrown down. Ninja Boy, the bullets were enough. Som will get some time to heal himself up, but Likitha Esports, it seems that's the end for them.
8-bit was already playing with 3-man army. And Som is the last man remaining. Being the IGL, the entire pressure is on to the Somraj now. That he has to survive, get few good position points, because 8-bit, they're slipping out in the leaderboard. Currently at the 8th spot, and the spray coming in from the side of Omega takes hefty HP out of Somraj. Out in the open, trying to make a quick escape and scuttle back to the safety, but still he's out in the open. And FS towards the adjacent hill, Levi has got a good control. But Team Aryan, even they're also trying to do something against the players of Genesis, as one of the player has been knocked
Eastern
out.
Circle.
And now Team Aryan will be looking for the confirmation point as well. You are anticipating an Eastern shift.
Yeah.
And here it is. That means chaos.
That means chaos. And right now it's still favoring the players of Genesis and Crore, because also Phoenix, they have the control of the circle. They have the center of the circle. Team Hero Extreme, Godlike, they also managed to take control some of the damage. They control some of the circle. Admino spots out another player. Archit instantly finished. That's the 3rd for the player of Hero Extreme, Godlike. Admino understands that he is completely surrounded by a lot of teams. FS, they need to make sure that they will enter inside the circle. Admino will reposition himself. Once again, the vehicle is not moving as fast as he wanted. Slowly and surely moving towards the safe zone. Punk, meanwhile, getting benched by the players of Phoenix Esports. The remaining Phoenix Esports, Ash and Jatin.
Phoenix, they have been struggling from the very start. I don't know, man. Look at the entire roster of Phoenix Esports. They have delivered such great performances in the past. But seems like this time the struggle is continuing for a very long time. Team Aryan on the other side, recently they have started showcasing good performance, especially Devotee in that one particular Sanhok where he was the only lone survivor, was able to get so many finish points. But for now, Team Aryan, even they have to focus on the rotation, just like the players of K9 are doing. But while trying to do so, Ash got picked off. So that means now Phoenix is left with only one last remaining player. When is this Phoenix going to rise from the Ashes Phoenix?
I have no idea, Shadow, and I would love to see them doing that. Eventually, when I was casting the matches, we saw Phoenix were trying good, but right now, Devotee shutting down instant the players of the Extreme Godlike. Meanwhile, Admino, he got finished off. There's only one player left from Godlike side, and that's going to be Punk, the IGL himself. Team Aryan managed to collect 2 frags, and that all the frag goes to Aryan. The circle is really ruthless. FS, they got good control of the circle. They got the certain side, but the previous match winners, Los Hermanos, looking decent too. They got the compound they wanted, and they've been holding that compound from a very long time. Jatin, been barged in. The Molotov was good, but not perfect. One more grenade can do the job, one more molly can do the job, and they will burn alive the players of Phoenix.
The lucky man.
Uncalled for, but yeah.
The lucky man still surviving. Look at the amount of util which the players of Genesis used in that compound. So many Molotovs and grenades were lobbed, but Jatin refuses to die.
That's why he's in the squad of Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Molotov won't burn him. Punk can't say the same thing for him. Hunters out in an open, tanking a lot of damage. Instantly switch. What a quick flip by Hunters. Switched onto that Ketten button and then instantly just saving himself up. But hey, Molly won't work. Molly won't burn you. But yes, SWLK will finishes you off. And that's the end for Phoenix Esports, taking an end at the net position. Genesis Esports, meanwhile, they are taking control of the perfect map. And now the circle will move towards the southern side.
Let's see. I hope you make the prediction that
I was so happy
get
though.
$1 million in my bank account. But never mind. Your
It's a
predictions are
centralized
not working anymore. Punk!
Yeah.
Let's hope his predictions do work because he's all by himself on the northern periphery of the circle. Genesis is aware about the position of Punk, but for now they are trying to prioritize their own rotation. MyG, who are also looking pretty promising, but now falling down slowly and steadily. Hunters up against the plus of Team Aryan in a 1v2 situation. Although
Perfect
he's getting
grenade.
all the backline support from his teammate, but the grenade finds a perfect connection towards Aryan. Now, Devotee also trying to cook a grenade. Hunters is one of those guys who's so precise with his util usage. But for now, he's looking for the confirmation point onto Aryan with that Molotov. For sure, he's going to get the confirmation as well. But Hunters himself need to be a bit careful from the side of Devotee and his utils.
He's the ruthless guy. He needs to be like this, Shadow. And he will eliminate the players of Team Aryan. What? And then meanwhile, we also saw the elimination of K9. It takes an end at the 9th position. Genesis Esports looking solid in the previous map. They got eliminated by the players of K9 and now they are still alive. But their elimination, their opposition, they have taken an end. Josh barely surviving. And before he could get knocked out, he was in the safest spot. Lost Hermanos. They got an opening and now they can easily push onto their opponents. But they have to be careful. The players of Mad Kings, they are keeping an eye on you. And you have to be really careful. Meanwhile, Hero Extreme Godlike, they also got eliminated. Genesis, by the way, they had the bounty on their head, but it seems it won't be. Any other team won't be able to just collect that now because Genesis lost 2 of the players from different teams.
MyG's 6 finishes, definitely a good consistency coming in from the side of MyG Los Hermanos in the map of Miramar, and they have made it inside the top 6. They have the entire northern control looking pretty promising, especially with a bit of the height advantage as well. Genesis only left with one last lad, that is going to be Zap. Mad Kings also left with only 2 players, but 5 finishes are definitely going to be okayish for Mad Kings because they need more than 5 finishes and heavy chicken dinner as well, but follow.
Shadow, don't you think this circle is still favoring a lot of teams? And True Rippers, despite of the fact they had the circle from a very long time, they haven't been in a really good fight. They've been stealing those finishes, right?
They most certainly have been. IG Los Hermanos, 7 finishes, like you mentioned. True Rippers towards the eastern periphery of the circle. Even the players of FS, they have got 3 players alive and they also have the eastern control of the circle. The next circle shift is going to determine that what sort of rotations are going to come in, what fights we are going to witness. And like you said, Z-God is all the way towards the center.
Yeah.
He's trying to be the anchor just in case if the circle takes a northern shift. Z-God can actually bring his entire team into the circle. But for now, QLMO up against Levi of FS. But Q takes a rain check on that fight, but Levi from the backlines finds a connection onto Hush, instantly knocks him out and looking for the confirmation. The circle has taken a bit of the southern shift, favoring the players of 4TR, but FS Esports not looking good. Even the players of True Rippers, Kyo Lamau has been eliminated.
The whole squad, it seemed the whole squad, they got an elimination. True Rippers were unable to perform from the previous map and now into this map too. Shadow, they were not good, but Genesis, Zap, before he can easily shock his enemies. He got eliminated. On the other side, 4TR, Z-God, he also got knocked out. Shadow in the retaliation faced a Brun. Z-God needs to be careful. Morty is there to support you. 4TR looking solid, looking good. Evil spotted out and taking a lot of damage. Meanwhile, FS, the players of FS, they are also making a move. Kalan, we know how crazy this lad is. 2 grenade from 2 different teams. 1 from 4TR and 1 from Los Hermanos. Mad King seems they got pinned. Kalan with the perfect grenade. No, it was not. That got ricocheted from that shack. Eventually he spots out the lad. The spray was good. And Sam is down.
Well, Sam has been knocked out, so that means Ninja is the only man surviving. From the side of Mad Kings, a grenade from the side of MyG. Spy is going to mark an end of Mad Kings. But now, MyG, they also need to be a bit cautious because Levi from the far off angle was trying to pip a few bullets. The vehicle has taken a lot of damage, but the player is still surviving and breathing. But FS, left with only 2 players, made it inside top 3. The circle is still in the control of 4TR. That 1v versus 1 versus 1 split might actually work for 4TR, because now they have got the entire real estate control.
Certainly got it. They have the most advantage here. Losing out Z-God is not the perfect thing for 4TR, but you do have a really, really good control of the map. MyG on the other side, yes, they do have the same thing. They have the northern side of the map too. FS, they got spotted out, but they're still alive. That's the perfect thing. In the previous map, we saw the similar thing happen. And in that map, MyG, Los Hermanos managed to get the chicken. Kalan in that interview mentioned he don't want bounty, he want finishes, he want the chicken dinner. That's what they're looking forward to. Morty, if the player decide that they will move towards him, he can be in a lot of trouble. Morty cooking up grenade, spots out the player, lopped one. Perfect? No! But Kalan lost a lot of his HP. Shadow on the other side, retaliating from Los Hermanos. Will this work? It might. It could have. It was perfect, but it's not. The follow-up was not even close.
The first grenade did take a lot of HP out of Morty, but now he has healed himself. But the main question is, does he have those grenades and molotovs? Because when you're on the low ground, you really need those utils. But seems like the M416 is going to really work for the players of MyG as they get the better out of Morty. Going up against the players of 4TR, there is no chance of rescue mission coming in. But God, he has to be very careful. Confirmation point easily secured onto Morty, and MyG is actually pushing against 4TR. But actually, it is FS as well. 4TR, they were looking so promising, but now they're getting sandwiched between FS and MyG. As Painter's life has also been knocked out, it's only God remaining.
It's going to be a very, very difficult fight for them. FS, Love is just helping out his comrade, the fallen comrade. Levi will get up in an instant, Spain's life. Meanwhile, that's the end for him. And Los Hermanos Shadow, they are looking solid. They might get the second chicken in a row. But FS, the players, they are also too good. Spy thought that he can rotate, but that's the end. Lovish managed to shut him down. Iron of God still surviving in that fight. Lobbed a grenade onto the players of Los Hermanos. Will it work? He's still hiding behind his vehicle. He's still hiding behind his mighty vehicle. Knows where the player are. The final circle of this map, Shadow. And Kalan taking a lot of damage of the blue. And Iron of God, that's the end for him. But Kalan, in fact Shadow, he got knocked out. FS, this is the perfect time to steal the show and to steal the chicken.
For sure, this is the moment for FS to shine, to rush up against the players of MyG, because if MyG gets enough time to go for the reset, this can actually be game for the players of MyG, a back-to-back chicken dinner. And that is something which the players of FS do realize. That's why Levi, up close personal, this grenade takes hefty HP out of 2 players of MyG. The follow-up gets 1 player down, so that means MyG is left with only 2 last players remaining, and Levi is actually pushing up against the players. So MyG's Los Hermanos Shadow, up so close personal, takes Levi down. So that means Lavish is the only man standing, takes Kalan also down. It's down to the last 1v1.
Now the Molotov won't work. Lavish with the S12K understands where the players are, hiding behind the vehicle, the explosive vehicle. The pan won't work. I thought it might. Kalan got eliminated by the blue. Lavish, he has the HP advantage. Switch to his S12K. A fight which is really going to be crazy. One-sided. Lavish connecting some more shots in Shadow. He needs to work out. The damage is relentlessly crazy. And that's the steal. FS bounce back and gets the chicken. You can see Ruben. He was happy and he was praying that they managed to steal the show. Now, Los Hermanos Shadow. They taste their own medicine.
FS actually had only 2 last players remaining. That was Levi and Lavish, and these 2 guys were actually pushing onto the players of 4TR, and 4TR was pretty much sandwiched between those 2 teams.
Yeah.
It was actually the individual fights which the players of MyG gave to the players of FS, and that's the main reason. Shadow, he went onto the flank angle. Let's have a look on the final blow also after some time, and we'll actually see what really happened. Shadow was going for the flank angle, and that is where the players of FS took the better out of him, and that was the moment that they actually went against him, because he was the only man remaining. A good chicken dinner finally coming in from the side of FS Esports.
Shadows, look at that. That Molotov from Levi was so good, and eventually the spray was even better. We saw that MyG Los Hermanos They understand that it was so important for them to just get the chicken in their favor. But they were not confident. They were not that perfect. That spy, that move was not required, Shadow. And eventually Shadow thought that he is safe, but he was not. After this incredible game, will they be able to bounce back in the overall ranking? You'll find that out after a very short break.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings. You forgot to charge your phone. Why won't you wake
हम बिगिनिंग हमेशा नहीं था स्टार यूसी लेने से पहले सोचता था 100 बार डर था बड़ा स्कैम्स का डाउट थे हजार तो प्ले ओपी आया तो लगाई नया पर तो मैंने लिया यूसी सेव गेम किया रेस प्ले मेरे साथ यहाँ ड्रॉप्स एकदम हार्ड प्ले तेरे साथ ओपी तू भी कर ले स्टार्ट
Seems like today is not the day for back-to-back chicken dinners. It is a day of comeback as FS Esports also securing a chicken dinner in the map of Miramar. But Mighty lost Hermanos also did pull off a really good game because they had good amount of finish points. They were so close to getting a chicken dinner. It was down to the last 1v1, Shivansh.
But yet so far, to be honest, Spy, that one particular moment, I was not happy with that because it was not required eventually. Yeah, you were there, you went there to just collect some information, but not giving your life should have been your priority. After losing that particular fight, FS just managed to take down one more lad. But alright, whatever happened for a good reason. You end up on the second position. You still managed to tank some amount of the numbers, especially the points. This will really throttle you up and shoot you up on the overall ranking. But hey, FS, they got the chicken and I'm happy for Roman and the boys.
Well, they are a bunch of happy lads because the way they were maintaining the entire southern control of the circle was really crucial for winning that last fight also, and it was bad for Fortier because they were also maintaining the center control of the circle, but things didn't really go in their favor. So I think Fortier, Z-God, the boys are not going to be so happy because they were pretty much sandwiched in that situation between MyG Los Hermanos and FS.
The circle was really ruthless onto them. Eventually, Z-God and Morty, while we were casting, we mentioned that point that Z-God was alone in the safe zone before the zone closed in, and Morty also joined in. They got the perfect control of the circle, but the worst factor was they were completely unaware about the sidelines, and eventually they got eliminated.
Well, they certainly were eliminated, but one guy was doing all the magic, and that was Shadow, the MVP of MyG Los Hermanos. 5 finishes and 33% finish contribution. This guy was actually doing a lot. It was him only in the last 1v1, but let's have a look at the stars of the match as well. Going all out has to be Shadow. The best companion is Apollo from the side of Mad Kings with 2 rescues and 0 assists. But the finisher is Lavish because he was the one to win that 1v1 against Shadow with 2 finishes and 2 assists.
That was a perfect end, right? He just found a small gap between the vehicle and managed to just spot the player, especially the foot, and just eventually just papered a lot of bullets down and finished him off. What a great end. And how it actually happened, let's take a look at the OnePlus Never Settle moments. The final fight, in fact, Starboy, that fight was just too good. But 8-bit, they're not having the best day today too.
Yeah, so Amraj was the only man remaining, and 8-bit in the start only. They were playing as a 3-man army. So the situation was not in their favor anyhow. But MyG first, they dealt with the players of Team Genesis as well. Later on, they dealt with few of the players of Team FS as well. This was a moment where Lavish was able to find those pixels from under the vehicle and was able to convert that winner-winner chicken dinner in his favor. So definitely Lavish was contributing a lot in that particular game. But let's have a look at the match ranking. 21 points is what LHS is having. They missed onto the winner-winner chicken dinner.
Yeah.
But 15 finish points. A good game for them.
Despite of the fact they end up on the second position, but in the match ranking they got the highest points. FS got the chicken 17 points in their back. Fortier, after eliminating Global Esports, they got good amount of finish points, right, Shadow? That was 8 in total, and then they were just managed to just collect some more. Total, they got 14 points. Mad Kings also had a decent, in fact, a good game comparative to the first map, Erangel, but Victorious Sumus once again bad, and K9 unfortunately to pull themselves up. Phoenix end up with just getting 1 point. 8-bit got 2. Som got 2 finishes.
Yeah, 2 finishes, but let's see how all this changes the entire leaderboard, because I'm expecting LHS to make a entry in top 8, but not yet. OG is still on the top with 444. A lucky number, I guess. But Revenant X-Park on the second with 437 points. Godstrain on third. Genesis on the fourth. Genesis is also finally coming back in the action. Hero Extreme Godlike, once again, not really good game, but still in the top 8. So I think they are going to be pretty happy. Metal Esports on the 7th. 8-bit on the 8th. Where exactly is MyG? On the 15th spot with 308 points. And 40 also have made a jump, sitting on the 13th with 3112.
This is a good place for the players of 4TR. Victorious Sumus, by the way, oh my god, dropping down to the 16th position, and Necro was really concerned about this team. I would love to hear what he got for these lads, because once again they were not prepared for a lot of these fights. But Mad Kings, alright, an upward draft for them. FS Esports also moving forward with this chicken, 2 chicken in the bag, and now after 44 matches we can see the group will change. Orangutan, they are on the stage. AKOP was there, and we all know how much comfortable they were. And as you just mentioned, right, 444, a lucky number, and I would love to see that they will surpass that number too, and about to get 500 points.
Highly possible, but you know what the pro players pick? They pick the Duolingo English test because it is accepted by 6,000 plus universities worldwide. So if you're a student and aiming for higher studies, Duolingo English test is the test you want to go, because we casters have already given up the art test, and our score we are not going to tell you, but we are going to tell you something, that Krat is ready with a special interview. So directly let's go to Krat.
दर्शकों, ऑफिसर कार की एक और बार आपके लिए आ चुके हैं, और जब हम पुलिस वाले बनना चाहते थे तो हमारे साथ ये भी थे, ये कंटेंट क्रिएटर बन गए और हम अभी भी इंसाफ के लड़ रहे हैं. तो सिड, स्वागत है आपका.
थैंक यू सो मच. थैंक यू.
अभी मामला बहुत ज्यादा संगीन हो चुका है. आपका ये फन बैंटर का बहुत सुन रहा हूँ मैं, क्या है ये?
यार मतलब BGMS है स्पोर्ट्स का ब्लॉकबस्टर, तो आप लोग यहाँ पे फन कर रहे थे, हमने सोचा हम भी घर पे बैठ के कर लेते हैं.
आपको पता है जनता भावुक है, आपको नहीं लगता ये फन बैंटर बहुत हानिकारक हो जाता है बहुत लोगों के लिए?
फर्क नहीं पड़ता, वो सब सोच के नहीं करते हम लोग। कोई शुरू करता है, हम खत्म करते हैं।
खूबसूरत। अब ये बताइए, आपकी भी एक टीम खेल रही है BGMS में, लड़का कैसा खेल रहा है, कोई रिपोर्ट लिए हमें निकलवानी पड़ेगी?
डिसेंट खेल रहे हैं मेरे हिसाब से, मच बेटर कर सकते हैं। आई थिंक ऑर्डिनरी खेल रहे हैं, एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी कर सकते हैं लोग मेरे हिसाब से। अभी वही मार्कशीट देखने आया उनकी, थकबाई भी आ रहे हैं वेरी सून, सुपरिटेंडेंट भी आ रहे हैं, तो देखते कैसे निकलता है अभी।
अच्छा, वो भी हमारे काफिले से हैं?
जी जी, वो भी आ रहे हैं अभी यहाँ पे।
अच्छा, मुझे बताइए, आप वॉच पार्टी बहुत करते हैं, लोग बहुत प्यार देते हैं, अगर आप यहाँ हैं तो आपकी रिपोर्ट कौन ले रहा है?
नहीं, वॉच पार्टी अभी फिलहाल आज का दिन मर्सी संभाल रहा है, बट कल से फिर से वॉच पार्टी करने वाला हूँ, क्योंकि आप लोग ने 7 तक की परमिशन दे रखी है, तो 7 तक जितना छाप सकते हो उतना छाप लेते हैं, उसके बाद तो है।
कितना बढ़िया तरीके से जवाब दिया है। बट ये हमारे सेट थे, मेरा नाम क्रैट, हम फिर से चलेंगे और ऐसे ही एपिसोड आपके लिए आते रहेंगे।
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag. We have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, 0 stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day for OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, everyone. After a short little break, that was definitely a fun segment with Sid Joshi giving insights about what's really happening in the team and the fun and banter. But joining me on the panel for the next one is going to be Necro. Necro, I'm sure you were watching the previous game from the backlines and you were saying something. Today's a day of...
Look, today's the day of comebacks, but chokes at the same time.
Yeah.
In game 1, we saw K9 Esports choke an easy situation, and now is Los Hermanos pretty much choking up the same situation that K9 Esports did. It was a 4-on-2 against K9 Esports, and Los Hermanos, they only had 2 men standing in that first game, and pretty much the same thing happened in the second game as well. Los Hermanos had all the 4 players standing, while the foes, they only had 2. So tables pretty much being switched. Los Hermanos as well choking another game, but only the good thing is that Los Hermanos had a consistent game too, which is quite a good thing.
Yeah, they might have missed on the winner chicken dinner, but at least they got the finish points, and that's something which is going to help them maintain the consistency. But I'm sure they're going to keep the same consistency in the remaining games as well. But the same consistency is expected from the side of OG as well. But for the audience, we have something at Google Play Store, and that is starting at 10 UC. You guys can try and spin and unlock the Nixon Sinistra set. This guy has refused to gift me anything. Shivansh has refused. Basically, everyone has refused to gift me anything. So I'm going to gift myself.
Oh.
Or maybe Atanki will.
Hold on. Okay, Atanki. Seems like the man's ready, prepared to step inside of the playing field.
Oh, it's still left.
Yeah, it's still
Someone
left there,
tells
but
him.
it's fine. It's okay. You know, it's a bit of that good luck.
Finally, his teammate helps
Finally
him out.
wipes him completely. But honestly speaking, man, look, at this point now, since OG's back inside of the playing structure, OG's already at the top, doing so good in the overall standings. And if OG's consistent flow is not being stopped, that first spot is going to be next to impossible to be taken away by anyone that's there. But I'm pretty sure a lot of these teams aren't even aiming to be in that first spot. They just want to be there in the top 4. That's it.
Top 4 race definitely is going to be a bit difficult. Even the players of Crore who looked promising in the previous week, we thought if they keep up the same consistency, maybe we can see the players of Crore also coming in the top 4. But that didn't happen. They are sitting somewhere on the top 10 with 339 points. Team Aryan with 300 points. But here's the thing. Recently, if you notice, Team Aryan is actually the one coming up with a consistent performance in terms of the finish points.
I mean, especially speaking of Team Aryan, for some reason I really do not put a lot of trust into this banner. It's because the playstyle they are currently possessing. We know the entirety of BGMS Season 4, it's all about playing that aggressive gameplay. You've got the power-ups as well that are helping you be aggressive, and also you're getting rewarded to the maximum potential. For some reason, a lot of these teams aren't even playing that aggressive gameplay. Victor Sumus, Team Aryan are also a part of it. And they've got all the rights to actually go ahead and take advantage of the power play, but they still aren't. But for now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
Alright, class, for today's lesson.
I already taught her something.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The map of Sanhok, a map which is very zone-oriented and is known for the aggression and those third parties and the fourth parties. Time for Sanhok and time for few surprises also, as we have got 3 bounty teams this time, Recro.
At this point, everyone on the English desk knows Sanhok is my personal favorite, just because there are so many confusing moments that do pop up, especially on this map itself. And as we all know, there are so many struggling teams as well. You brought up one of the names, which was Team Aryan. Yeah, they're doing okay in the overall standings, but as I mentioned, Team Aryan, they rely on the passive instincts a bit too much. They should go aggressive. BGMS Season 4, it's all about unleashing yourself in the lobby.
Especially the rotation, if you notice, Team Aryan always bring good rotation on the table. They were going for the northern control of the circle. That is where they shine the most. The rotation, the position, the placement. They just need to focus on the 4v4 fights as well. But you know, Jelly is also one of those players who is known for those rotations, good rotations, especially on every single map. So let's hear it from the Jelly, as we have got a content ready with him. Let's hear it from the IGL himself.
आरओ एंड आतंकी ने अभी ट्रॉफी उठा ली, पर आपकी ट्रॉफी तो हमें नहीं दिख रही।
तो देखो, आरओ और आतंकी ना मेरे भाई जैसे, जब वो फर्स्ट डे पे टॉप भी किए थे, मैं उनके पास गया था, उनको बोला था प्लीज इस बार ट्रॉफी उठा देना, क्योंकि पहली बात तो ओजी की ट्रॉफी सब लोग देखना चाहते थे, और ओजी से ज्यादा मैं देखना चाहता था आरओ और आतंकी को बहुत अच्छा करते हुए, क्योंकि वो पहली शायद मेरी ऐसी टीम थी, जब हम लोग अलग हुए थे तो हमारे बीच में कुछ भी लड़ाई या कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं हुआ था। बहुत ज्यादा म्यूचुअल बेसिस पे हम लोग अलग हुए थे, और वो लोग भी समझे थे चीजों को जिसके बेसिस पे हम लोग अलग हुए, और आज वो लोग इतना अच्छा कर रहे हैं, ट्रॉफी उठा ली। मतलब देखो, मैं इतने टाइम से कह रहा हूँ, मैं नहीं उठा पाया, लेकिन वो लोग उठा लिए तो मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगता है और होपफुली BGMS में भी वो लोग अच्छा करें। बाकी तो चलते रहता है, क्या पता अपनी ट्रॉफी पे आ जाए जल्दी।
Well, relationships are something which is a part of esports, and that is what Jelly was feeling for his former teammates. But now he needs to focus on his current teammates and the trophy itself, because that should be the goal for every IGL sitting on the stage.
And after every game, it feels like True Ripper's performance, it's degrading, which is not a good thing. We're not seeing that explosive performance from True Rippers anymore. And for some reason, we're not even seeing that old prime True Rippers back in form, which is honestly a major concern for me at this point, because they're not even popping up in the elimination bracket. They're not even there in the final few moments of the game. And if they keep on playing the same way, we might just see them get kicked outside of the top 12 soon.
Highly possible, because True Rippers, yes, there was a point of time where they were going for those 4v4 fights, especially Kiolamau. If you remember, he was the MVP also. The entire team was looking so aggressive. I'm sure you remember that last clutch which Hush pulled off against Edmino and got the chicken dinner. That is what we want to see from Jelly and the boys. And Sanhok is one of those maps where you can take advantage of the power play and also take advantage of the finish points, because that is eventually going to elevate you in the overall ranking.
And you know what, speaking about the inconsistencies as well, another one of those names that should be out there is also Metal Esports. Now, if you remember, Metal Esports, of course, they've had those burst of performances where they got a back-to-back chicken dinner. We also did see Metal Esports play quite aggressive as well in some of those instances. They were quite consistent too. But now that entire consistency, that good performances have faded away. And Metal Esports as well is dropping down in the overall standings, which is not too good.
Of course, that's definitely not going to be good for anyone. But Sensei is also one of those players which is known for the consistent gameplay, because he was the one to get 86 points in a single day. He was actually going behind those bounty teams, going for those power play fights, and that sort of play is kind of missing from the side of RNTX. Even on the weekend also, we did see that they were not really getting so many points as they got in the first weekend itself. But now the map of Sanhok is ready, and all players, 16 teams, 64 players are ready and set for the map of Sanhok. The big blue bird is already hitting the sky. And speaking of the flight part, it is going all the way from the side of Ruins towards Lakavi.
Once again, the planned flight path is quite forgiving for the players, and since it's the map of Sanhok as well, it's quite easy to drop down, get your hands on the loot. But we're still looking for a few drop clashes, maybe towards Boot Camp. Some can happen also towards Sami. There's a big chance even Paradise Resort can be contested by a few teams. Reckoning Esports, they have been quite flexible when it comes to their drop locations. Sometimes they like to drop in towards Boot Camp, sometimes anywhere else on the map.
Let's see this time where they are actually heading, because if you look at the players of VS, they love going all the way towards Sami, Team Aryan. They love taking that split drop around the city of Ruins. FS this time heading all the way towards the side of Camp Alpha, because we don't have the players of K9 in this particular lobby. So the entire Camp Alpha belongs to FS. NoNx, they're going all the way towards Hathin.
Reckoning Esports did not drop towards Boot Camp. This time, they're going towards Paradise Resort. Locking horns against the players of God's Reign. It's not the first time this has happened. In God's Reign, they've got a massive challenger approaching. And at this point in time, if Reckoning Esports does not end up winning this fight, this is going to be a major concern for them. Reckoning Esports, they're able to shank down one of the players, but still the problems continue. Javin was knocked out in the process, but even God's Reign lost out on one of their own. The man's still not confirmed though, so Reckoning Esports will have a solid shot. Let's bring him back to life. The fight's still taken down with 3-on-4. The man who was knocked out, the revival's being stuck onto him. And even God's Reign, they do not really have a lot of utilities to play with since they just dropped down. So we might just not see nades being used to force the players outside of their comfort zones anymore. They are limited on resources, limited on ammunition. And Diana says the man's going to make the pounce. He's on top of the roof. His position's definitely noticed. And God's Reign now will be extremely unsettled. They do not know what to expect. Look at Neo. The man knows exactly what's going on around the fray. Neo's got his hands on the DBS. Even Destro's got his hands on the shotgun. As long as you've got the shotguns primed, you will of course have the advantage of close and personal. And Destro, he really does want to get his hands on the first aid. But the problem is Destro knows there's someone on top of the roof. The moment he exposes himself, he will be knocked out and confirmed. And here comes another major problem by the name of NINZA. Even they're here to third party, probably take a few elimination points away and reap the benefits.
This is God's Reign territory. They are aware about every nook and cranny of Paradise Resort, but like you said, a third party and maybe a fourth party also is coming in the name of TWOB. TWOB is also one of those teams which is not that strong in those 4v4 fights. I don't know what actually the decision is coming in from the IGL, but whatever it is, TWOB needs to start taking advantage of the power play and convert those fights in their favor, because every single time when they go for the power play fights, they tend to lose onto the players.
This is going to be so tricky for all the teams. Even for NINZA, if they do want to go for a proper third party, they need to make sure that the players are hurt. And for that, they need to wait for Reckoning Esports and God's Reign to actually lock horns. And that's why you see the players of NINZA not even pouncing yet. Dionis has spotted the man on the rooftop. He's still alive. That little pixel is spotted by Beard Baba. But the man still does not know what exactly needs to be done. Beard Baba's got his hands on the UMP-45. Destro just waiting on the opposite side, waiting for someone to walk in that doorway. And the moment that happens, he will be blasted to death. Destro with the DBS in hand. Now a lot of shots are heard, but still God's Reign. They decide to make that pounce. Flock gets taken down pretty low. And now Destro gets pounced himself. That will be an instant knock-in confirmation. God's Reign. Unfortunately, now the fight's taken down to a 3v3. God's Reign losing out on Delta. Even that's not a good thing. Max's wall falls down. The trade's now starting to happen back and forth. Even God's Reign, it feels like they're starting to lose the grip inside of the fight. As even NINZA, they're still there right across the board. And NINZA, even they push up and eliminate the remnants of God's Reign. But you've still got Reckoning Esports alive thanks to the players of NINZA. And Dionis, he's trying to put in as much work as possible. Dionis, the man himself, is taken down pretty low, but TWOB, they've got too many men standing. The advantage is massive.
Trying to go for the last player towards Reckoning. That is going to be Dionysus, and Pukar puts an end to him. And with that, Reckoning has been eliminated. 3 finishes secured by the players of TWOB. Finally, a good head start. Reckoning, Godstein, they both have been eliminated. But I'm sure the bounty didn't go towards the side of Reckoning, because one of the player was taken down by the players of TWOB. So the bounty has been defended by Godstein. But now TWOB, they have got bigger problems. They have got the players of Meta NINZA as well.
TWOB, especially with all the 4 players on the block and NINZA right around the fray. I'm not sure what sort of a game plan now is going to be paved. NINZA with a 3-man squad. TWOB with all the 4 players around the block. And once again, we might just see that stalemate occur. Reckoning Esports usually drops towards boot camp, but as I mentioned, they are quite flexible as well. They like to drop pretty much all over the map. And Reckoning Esports this time switched things up, dropped towards the players of God's Reign in Paradise Resort, and got absolutely wiped by a third party. Which blows, but this was ought to happen.
100%. Kind of a stalemate situation like you mentioned, but those 3 finishes, so that means 6 extra points, are going to help the players of TWOB. The problem with TWOB is not the early fight, it's maintaining the numbers. But for now, seems like Meta NINZA, they have decided to take a rain check on this fight. And now they are prioritizing their own loot and resources. Even the players of Metal Esports are also in the close proximity. But my G Los Hermanos, Kalan has been eliminated. And even Evil has been eliminated by the players of Team iQOO Soul. And let me remind you, Necro, iQOO Soul is on the hunt after the performance which they pulled off yesterday.
They have to be as well, right? Since Soul, they got Porter outside of the top 4. Now Soul, they're definitely unhappy with the fact that they're not there in the top 4 anymore. Searching for the elimination points, and as many as they can, they will get their hands onto it. It's the power play too. And they've already managed to rack up 2 elimination points against the players of Los Hermanos, a team that has had a consistent day so far. But OG, even they step inside of the playing field. As Aru gets knocked down, return for OG. Metal Esports, even they kickstart things against the players of Orangutan. Things quite back and forth. OG, they've already lost out on Aru. The Agile's not there in the game anymore. Metal Esports third-partying this fray. But OG, they reply back in a great style as Altu gets caught off guard and eliminated from this game. Now the fight's even Steven, a 3-on-3 on the block.
But seems like Metal Esports, they are actually going for the flank angle, because if you notice, Termi is the only one in that very compound. Venom with a Twiggle is going for the flank angle. We've got a good stuff coming out from this side, but from the northern side, even the players of TWOB are also approaching OG. So there is a high possibility that TWOB can also try to take advantage of the situation. But the circle is a hybrid circle. It has got all the 3 islands covered. But for now, OG, they have to go for the reset. Medal is actually going for a direct push where AQOB and Atanki both have been knocked out.
And for OG, this fight now seems a bit too rough. Scott is the only man left standing, but Metal Esports, even they might just scatter. And that's what happens. Metal Esports scattering and getting absolutely shattered by WizGod. And this is what I was talking about, the disconnect between the players. And that's why they were not able to play that proper trade game. And since Metal Esports now down to just Termi, this gives another shot at life for WizGod. But there's another team in the far fray. That's going to be TWOB right on the tails. Termi, he eliminates the final man of OG. That's going to be the nail in the coffin. And if I'm not wrong, that was also the bounty claimed. Wait, no, that was not. Metal Esports only got 3 eliminations. 1 elimination point got stolen away by someone else.
Yeah. So that means no bounty points given away at all. 2 bounty teams have been eliminated, by the way. Termi is the last man standing from the side of Metal Esports, still trying to go for the finish points up against the players of TWOB. But here's the thing, TWOB, they have got the height advantage. And they have an idea that where exactly Termi could be. On the other end of the map, we also have got the players of Team iQOO Soul going up against the players of VS. And we know VS is not that strong in those 4v4 fights. Avi with that vehicle wanted to get the information. Went for the scouting and had taken a lot of damage. So close, and Termi, finally it is Pucar from off angle. Dealing with the last player of Metal Esports, and now Metal, they have been eliminated on the 13th spot.
Metal Esports down and out, the consistency definitely taking a massive toll. Meta NINZA as well. Massive dip in this game for them too. It's REVENANT Spark, they put a full stop to their story. A lot of teams, they've lost their consistent string. Mind you, lost Hermanos in this game, losing out on 2 players off the rip. The consistency now is down in the train. They only got 1 elimination in that power play, which is just 2 points. Still, in my opinion, the consistency, as of now, it's taken a massive tumble. Unless these 2 players, they somehow pull off a miraculous performance, and they're able to get a lot of points. So, this can't be another banger game if they play the cards right. They do not really have a lot of power play points, but still things can be taken advantage of. As of now, what a nade that was! One nade from Superman, finds a quick 2-piece, fierce and trace down. REVENANT Spark, they still somehow defend this ground! Alive in boot camp, REVENANT Spark untouched by the foes.
But look at that, who is keeping a close eye on to bootcamp. This is actually the players of MyG lost Hermanos, but now they are only down to 2 remaining players. Are they actually going for the fight? Yes, they are. Shadow, that vehicle going against the players of RNTX, but few shots towards Shadow. He's on a sliver of HP. He just survived by the skin of the teeth.
MyG lost Hermanos. Just a 2-man squad going for the third party against the entirety of REVENANT Spark. It's not the way you're supposed to do things. And speaking of REVENANT Spark, the bounty's already spoiled.
Yeah.
No one's going to be able to get their hands on the bounty anymore. With just a 3-man squad, you cannot grab it. And the zone is constantly centering on up over and over again. There's still a bit confusing aura inside of the circle. You never know if it's going to be shifting all the way towards the Camp Alpha Island, if it's going to be shifting down south, or towards boot camp. But I genuinely think it is going to be shifting towards the Camp Alpha. That's why there's so many teams camping that.
Highly possible. I totally agree with you. And if it actually goes all the way towards the side of Camp Alpha Island, then maybe the players of Team Arian, FS, True Rippers, and NoNx can benefit heavily. But if you look at the fight which actually happened between RNTX and Marcos Gaming, it was actually Marcos Gaming who first was able to take down 2 players from the side of RNTX, and despite that, a single grenade from the side of RNTX took down 2 players of Marcos Gaming. The last player was also taken down pretty easily, but for now, the players of TWOB, 6 finishes, trying to traverse inside the circle from the eastern fray. They can actually take control of the triple warehouse outside the boot camp, and maybe that's actually the plan.
They indeed can take the control. But as of now, 6 teams have been eliminated from this game. And a few teams, they've taken the individual blows. The lobby now feels empty. NoNx, all the 4 players booking it towards the Camp Alpha Island. They think the zone's going to be shifting towards that spectrum. And half of the lobby thinks that the zone's going to be shifting towards boot camp. This division, it's definitely interesting. And two of them thinking that the zone's going to take a sudden shift. We've got Soul and Victoria Sumus. And Victoria Sumus once again playing that passive gameplay. I'm not sure when they're going to learn. They should play a little bit aggressive. Victoria Sumus, if I'm not wrong, they were around that 13th spot before that previous game. But now they're on 16th. They need to learn, and I'm not sure when they're going to learn.
I don't know when. VS, they need to go for the aggression. But you know something? For the audience, we have got something in the game. And that is, you guys can spin and unlock the Nixon Sinistra set starting at 10 UC. So definitely go and grab your hands because everyone has got 10 UCs. But for now, FS, they have got the height advantage. And True Rippers, they do have a decent compound to their name, but they are on the downhill. But what if the circle goes away from the players of FS?
Good question.
Oh?
But for FS Esports, right now it seems like their lives are going away from them. Roman's knocked out. Revival's possible, since there was no one really nearby them on the hilltop.
And Aryan is so far away from the players of FS. He's towards the shoreline of Camp Alpha Island, and despite that, he was able to find a clear line of sight onto the players of FS.
And oh my god, the zone takes a curveball shift. Everyone towards the left is messed up. Even I thought the zone's going to be shifting towards left. How is True Rippers supposed to make the rotation now? How is FS Esports supposed to play this game? How is Team Aryan supposed to cross on over? Everyone's messed up. This has to be Revenant X Sparks' game. That's the only possible team I think is in the power spot and can easily snatch the game away. All they need to do is just keep their cells pinned towards boot camp, while the rest of the lobby will end up eliminating themselves.
Or maybe the players of iQOO Soul, because they are the only one going for the southern rotation, barring the players of VS. And since the players of RNTX are all the way towards boot camp, everyone will be eyeing for the compounds of boot camp. So RNTX, even if they don't want to, they'll be grabbing so much attention for all the remaining teams.
And there's also one of the compounds actually vacant for Soul to go ahead and grab it right underneath boot camp. Things are now starting to line up. Victoria Sumus, even they're on the move. But as I mentioned, I'm not sure when they're going to learn their lesson. They need to be aggressive. Get those elimination points. Playing it completely passive will never reward you that well, especially inside of BGMS Season 4. That's a terrible idea. But True Rippers, with how things are for them, it does seem like now they might just be able to do something. They can third-party this entire action. That's proven upon the screen. But even Team Aryan, they've lost out in two-man. TWOB, even he gets knocked out. FS Esports flipping the tide, turning the tables. And Team Aryan now down to just their one last glimmer of hope. Even Roman was knocked out from FS Esports, but Roman's back upon his feet, so it's all good and dandy for them. FS Esports, they've made sure that the tables will be flipped against Team Aryan. Utilities starting to put in a lot of work and do a lot of damage. Even Cyrex gets chipped up pretty low. The man, though, he moves outside of the house in the back lines. Cyrex knows he needs to go for revival on towards Henry, and that's what he exactly does. Team Aryan, they can easily stick in the revival as well. It's not a problem. But FS Esports, since they're back in full force, all the four-player can actually group up and make that pounce against Team Aryan and wipe him outside of the game. But they're just waiting for the blue to flush him out, which in my opinion is not a good move because FS Esports themselves need to make it inside of the zone. But Roman, he plays it perfectly as he finds the first strike. Henry right around that vehicle, even he will be taken down by Levi.
This fight should have gone in the favor of the players of Team Aryan. What really happened? Aryans are the one to be eliminated on the 10th spot. If you notice the way the players of FS slammed onto the compounds, it was a clear fight going in the favor of Team Aryan. And despite that, FS walks away with murder, but the circle is still favoring the players of Likitha Esports Team iQOO Soul. I'm telling you, Necro, this is the game for iQOO Soul. This is their game to lose, unless and until VS pulls off something major, because they have a height advantage and position advantage. But we have been mentioning this again and again, that VS, they lack on those 4v4 fights.
You are actually right. This can be Soul's game. For Revenant X Park, this is pretty much next to impossible to conquer. It's because there's so many teams right behind them. They will be backstabbed sooner or later. But as of now, look at the Esports spotting out the fishes in the water. It's the entirety of FS Esports right in front. And look at the Esports, they want to grab all the elimination points that are swimming. Roman spotted in the back lines, the shots are taken, but still the connection lacking. FS Esports, all the four players, they might just be able to swim towards the shorelines. But But that's where the real problem will start to begin. How are you supposed to win the duels on the shorelines? You're already starting things off with a massive disadvantage. Oh, one of the players, Levi, is actually safe. He's found himself around that edge. He's safe.
You were mentioning that RNTX are looking so strong, but NoNx, as per the Finnish feed, one of the player of RNTX has been knocked out.
I mentioned this. It's impossible for Revenant X Park to win this game now. The moment the zone shifted down south.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many teams on Revenant X Park's tail. There's so many backstab potentials. And that's what is exactly happening. Revenant X Park, they got backstabbed by the players of NoNx, but hold on to that thought! Oh my god, True Rippers! Kio's down, Hirsch behind the vehicle. And there's no escape probability for Hirsch now. He needs to deal with the wrath of the utilities of Team Victor Sumus. And the nade was tossed to perfection. Hirsch gets taken down pretty low. True Rippers, they messed up big time.
Hirsch down to a sliver of HP. Unfortunately, Thunder is left with only one single Molotov. Why this guy not lobbing using that Molotov? Because he can actually take Hirsch down. Maybe he wants to rely on the M416. Because Mafia is actually onto that flank angle. But Mafia, he needs to be cautious, very careful. Because if Mafia gets knocked out, there is no chance of a revival happening in that situation. Harsh will make sure to get the confirmation point onto Mafia as well.
Yeah, but Victor Sumus, they pretty much have this fight in the back. There's no way they will lose this. Hirsch is taken down pretty low. Mafia's going for the revival. Victor Sumus, they've got 3 players strong and ready. But the longer the fight delays, the more the problems will. And that's where the main issue is. If you keep on delaying the problems, if you keep on delaying the hurt, it will hurt even more in the future. And that's what Hirsch is doing. Victor Sumus should push up. They should eliminate this one man of True Rippers. He's causing a lot of troubles. And what is Victor Sumus doing? Playing a passive gameplay every time is not the solution. But they finally toss a Molotov. And that will be the end for the last man of True Rippers.
Mafia could have done that ages ago. We had that Molotov, but Likitha Esports also going up against the players of TWOB, where Avi has been knocked out, but from a far-off angle, NoNx also doing a third party. TWOB still surviving 8 finishes, and this is one of the best game of TWOB. They are still in the top 6, but NoNx, a barrage of grenades coming in from the side of Fierce and the boys, marks an end of 2 players. Kana, the only man remaining, takes 1 Fury down. Can he actually deal with the remaining players? No is the answer. NoNx, they have been eliminated on the 6th spot. But RNTX, even they are also coming under heavy fire from the side of MyG.
It's impossible for Revenant X Park to make the great escape. It's done. The last man all the way back in the blue, and he's getting chipped up pretty low. Fierce, he's constantly patching himself up. He wants to play for the placement points, at least squeeze himself in the top 4. But for that, he needs to hope and cross his fingers that a fight happens in the upcoming few moments. But that's not going to be the case. The man gets eliminated by the play zone. That's it for Revenant X Park on the 5th spot. Still a decent outing for them if you think about it. But Victor Sumus, they've got all the 4 players ready and primed. But the main issue for the 4 players is that they're not inside of the circle. They will need to move out in the open soon. They will be forced outside of their comfort zone soon, and that's when Soul will start to strike. At the moment Soul will start to strike, Victor Sumus will collapse.
Knuckle out in the open! Mafia instantly knocks him down and maybe looking for the confirmation point, because if you notice, the remaining 3 players of iQOO Soul are at a certain distance, but Mafia also had to make a run inside the circle and iQOO Soul instantly punishes him.
Still, the trades are happening back and forth. You never know what's going to be the one to come out on top in this fight. Soul, they have managed to soften up the players of Victor Sumus. Another man taken down extremely low. Cheyenne, he finds a second knock. Soul getting dismantled as the last man's position was also noticed. And Cheyenne, this one man, he's putting in a lot of work. Goblin is softened up too low. The man patching himself up. Now he needs to isolate the duels. And Goblin, he takes down the first. One more man to go against Victor Sumus, and Goblin, he does not have the spark in him anymore, as he will be eliminated from the game as well.
A big blunder coming in from the side of Team iQOO Soul, giving individual fight to the players of VS. But this is one of the best fight which VS has pulled off, but even they gets eliminated on the 3rd spot. Now we have got the players of MyG and TWOB. A comeback day could be there for the players of TWOB, because this is the first time with amount of finishes which they have right now that they have made it inside top 2.
Yeah, but TWOB, they're now going to be pretty happy with the position they found themselves in. This is probably one of the best possible games TWOB has had so far. Avi and Vishu next to each other against the two remaining players of MyG Los Hermanos. And remember, I had a conversation about how MyG Los Hermanos messed up in this game, and this might just be a bad game for them, the consistency dropping down, but no, that's not the case. Somehow, even though they lost out on those two players early on, MyG Los Hermanos, they make it in the top two. How is this even possible? It feels like everything is just falling into place for MyG Los Hermanos. No matter what they come in prepared with, it's working out. And as of now, TWOB, they're surrounded, especially Avi. The man's getting surrounded from all the different angles. And Shadow, he finds that connection. TWOB eliminated from the game as MyG Los Hermanos. That's the second chicken dinner of the day. They got the first in the first game and the second one in the map of Sanhok. But they played it so well. With just a two-man squad, pulling this off is not easy.
We have been asking where exactly the players of MyG have been lost, why the aggression is not coming, why the consistency is not coming in. But you know what? This is the day of MyG Los Hermanos. Two chicken dinners. In the third one also, in the map of Miramar also, they came on the second spot. Such a consistent run from MyG Los Hermanos. I'm sure after this game they are going to catapult themselves in the overall ranking as well. But TWOB, I'm sure this was one of the best performances TWOB had in the entire 3 weeks.
It's like no matter what they've prepared, it's just working out perfectly well, right, for them. And looking at the entire circumstance that popped up in the final few moments as well, you've got Soul as well a part of it. Especially Goblin, he was softened up so much. But later on, he was able to patch himself up, but Goblin just messed up that duel, man. The entirety of Soul, they should have been able to win this duel. But I understand Victor Sumus, they had the entire high ground advantage, and that's where things sort of worked out for them. But I still believe if Soul would have shown a few more patience, things could be better for them. Before now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the post-game stats.
He was taken too soon. I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
I'm sure this is the day of celebrations for the players of MyG Los Hermanos because consistency is coming in. They started the day by getting a chicken dinner, and after that, in the Miramar, they came on the second spot. And with such celebrations coming in, we have got something on the Swiggy as well. All buns blazing, burgers at ₹99 with free delivery. I'm sure MyG Los Hermanos, they can treat me with few burgers.
That is crazy, right? Burger for just 99 rupees, and that too, you will not be charged for delivery. That is insane, guys. I mean, why would you not want to get your hands onto it? But you know what? Back towards the conversation that we're having, right? MyG lost Hermanos. How are they able to do this? With just a two-man squad, they lost their two players so early. And it feels like whatever they've came in prepared with, it's working out.
Well, it is certainly working out for the players of MyG, and this is what we anticipated from their side. We have been asking from a very long time that what's happening wrong with the players of MyG lost Hermanos. But I think this is now high time we start asking the same question to the players of iQOO Seoul. What's happening wrong with the players of iQOO Seoul?
I mean, still for Seoul, I would say, since they were able to be there in the final few moments, right in the top 5, it's still quite a decent performance. And I do understand why Seoul kind of choked up that fight. I also believe the fact that if Seoul would have shown a few patience, then maybe things could have been better for them, since Victor Sumus were traveling downhill. And Victor Sumus, as I said, they had the high ground advantage. Of course, they pretty much had the advantage in the fight as well. And that high ground advantage helped the players of Victor Sumus convert that fight in a great fashion.
I totally agree. Impatience was the reason of iQOO Seoul early exit, but someone was taking a lot of numbers on the table, and that is shadow of MyG lost Hermanos, 4 finishes and a great amount of finish contribution as well. But looking at the stars of the match, we have got TWOB player as the best companion, and of course Spy as a finisher, because he was the guy who was able to land the final blow.
And as I mentioned, right, this was a massive throw coming in from TWOB, since things could have been played better for them. But once again, the same pretty much storyline follows over here as well. Just like how Victor Sumus had the high ground to play with, the same thing over here pops up too. MyG lost Hermanos had the high ground to play with, and unfortunately for TWOB, they were on the lower ground, so that advantage is kind of tough to deal with, and they lost and crumbled under it. As we've got the never settle moments from OnePlus, this is how the action kicked off in that previous game. OG unfortunately got eliminated quite early in that game. Later on, NINZA as well got wrapped up by the players of REVENANT X Park. Team Aryan, we mentioned this, they are playing a bit too passive. Team Aryan should amp up the aggression, especially when they're quite confused on how the game is going to be looking for them in the future.
The most two shocking moments for me in this entire game was FS versus Team Aryan, because the fight should have gone in the favor of Team Aryan. So let's have a look at the match ranking as well, that how many points actually did Team Aryan accumulate in this one. On the top, of course, has to be TWOB with total of 18 points. LHS on the second with 17 points. RNTX, they eliminated the players of Marcos Gaming and few good position points, so that means 12 points to their name. iQOO Seoul 11, doing pretty decent actually.
Yeah, I mean, TWOB got helped big time by the power play points, and this is why I keep on mentioning, just go ahead and take fights early on, go ahead and take the advantage of the power play. TWOB, the only reason why they're able to be at the top of the match rankings, it's because of the power play points. Now, latter half of the board pop up on the screen, you will also see NoNx with 5 points, God's Reign. A bit of a downfall in this game, but it's fine. God's Reign can still get things amped up in the future, since we've got the map of Erangel booting up soon in the future. But overall, as I mentioned, even for True Rippers, this degrading performance is quite concerning. We've also got the overall standings now, and especially on the first spot, it's OG. Yeah, for OG, the previous game wasn't great, but they're now tied up with REVENANT X Park.
Look at the points which Genesis is having, 428. iQOO Seoul with 425, only 3 points deficit. There is a very high chance that iQOO Seoul can catapult themselves in the top 4 spot if they get at least 3 to 4 points in the last Erangel. But now MyG, because of the consistent performance, they are on the 12th spot with 325 points. They have got 3 chicken dinners, 2 just in one day.
Yeah, even Victor Sumus, right, on the 13th spot. Since the previous game was decent, Victor Sumus has also catapulted themselves on that 13th spot once again. And Victor Sumus is constantly playing around that 16th and the 13th spot. That's where Victor Sumus has been for the maximum time, which is not a good thing, right? Because they're pretty much stuck over there on that same position. We're not seeing any improvement from them.
But look at Likitha Esports. They've got 3 chicken dinners, and despite that, they are sitting on the 22nd spot.
They're a completely different story.
So much inconsistent they have been in their performance.
Exactly. That's what happens when you're extremely inconsistent.
Yeah.
And they're a prime example of that. If you are someone who's getting the chicken dinners, just do not be like Likitha Esports, right? And in my opinion, even like Victor Sumus, because this is one of the greatest teams out there. This is one of the known names out there. And still Victor Sumus, we're not seeing any improvements from there. They're constantly on that same spot. They're stagnant.
They are definitely stagnant, but if you notice the players who are not stagnant and who are able to stage a comeback today, they all are playing on the OnePlus devices. Never settled. You guys can also grab your hands on the OnePlus devices, because all these players, they are not facing any FPS issue or lag issue or battery issue, only because they have got OnePlus devices.
And isn't it crazy to think about that you're getting 144 FPS in the palm of your hands?
Yeah.
Because usually you get 144 FPS on a computer, but now you're getting that on your mobile device, which is absolutely crazy. And OnePlus 13 13R is the device you're supposed to check out. But back towards the conversation, right? With things how they're getting spicier and spicier game after game, I know in the final game it will be even more spicier. But for now, let's move on to a break.
You forgot to charge your phone. Why won't you wake up?
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Within a few moments, the last game of the day will be booted up on the screen. And especially with how MyG Los Hermanos has been playing, man, the consistency is immaculate. It's iconic. 2 chicken dinners so far from a team like MyG Los Hermanos. Will they be able to get their 3rd chicken dinner on the last game? That's the main question. And there's definitely a big possibility they might just be able to close things out with a bang.
We haven't seen 3 chicken dinners in a day from any team at all. So maybe MyG can actually pull it off. But actually, if you notice, no one today is also getting those 10 extra bounty points as well. Teams tried, but somehow the bounty points were denied even by the plus of RNTX as well, since they're so much engrossed in the practice for now. But if you notice, Revenant X-Park is also facing a downfall in their performance. Yes, they are getting those finish points and average points in every single game because of the power play and those extra finish points. But the RNTX which we saw last week, that RNTX is completely missing.
I mean, still they're on the 2nd spot though. The previous game wasn't too bad, right? Of course, everyone got caught off guard by that zone since, of course, at the start the zone shifted towards the right side, towards boot camp. And even I thought, RNTX, all they need to do is just keep on sitting in that same spot, not even make a move. But the moment the zone shifted down south, I'm pretty sure even Sensei knew that now it's impossible for us to capture a chicken dinner because the backlines were filled up with too many foes.
Completely engrossed and focused in the game, all the players at this point, even the players of iQOO Soul. I'm sure what really happened in the previous game, that has taken a bit of the confidence out of the players, but I'm sure with so much experience which they have, they're going to give their best in the next Erangel. Maybe they can bounce back much stronger, because we have seen iQOO Soul, whenever they hit the rock bottom, they bounce back with too many points and a chicken dinner on the table.
Especially for Seoul, the previous game wasn't too bad. Once again, a lot of these teams got messed up by the zone itself. Yes, I do understand the fight could have been converted by the players of Seoul if they would have played. But at the end of the day, Seoul's in quite a good spot. They know they're anyways going to be moving towards the semifinals, even if they miss out on the grand finals or miss out on the top 4. So it's all good in the hood for them. And pretty much all the teams in the top 8, now they've got a massive cushion. And the cushion is going to be of taking the unwanted risk if they do want to take it.
Let's see if they're actually going to take that risk, because even the players of God's Reign, they haven't got a chicken dinner yet. The aggression which they used to bring in towards the final few circles, because God's Reign is one of those teams who will never go for the power play action. They just tend to go for the natural play style, go for the loot, and then go for the rotations, and the final few circles is when they start picking up the players. But you know what you guys can do, the audience, you guys can actually take advantage of the multicam feature for the first time only on Jio Hotstar, where you can watch the POV of your favorite teams and also the map feed.
Even godlike OG are a part of it, so yes, you guys can move on towards Jio Hotstar and have a look at yourself. But back towards the main conversation that we're having, right? Victorious Sumus, that's another one of those teams that we should talk about. Yes, the previous game was quite decent since they found themselves in the top 3, but generally speaking, Victorious Sumus, if they are playing it completely passive, they should be there bare minimum with a chicken dinner, especially in a game like that. If Victorious Sumus is not getting a chicken dinner, it's their loss. And as I mentioned, even in the overall standings, the only reason why they're stagnant is because the elimination points are lacking in their performance. The moment they amp up the elimination points, I'm pretty sure that the stagnant performance, it will move up by a bit.
Of course, even for the players of Metal Esports, if you notice in the map of Miramar also, they were pretty much pinned down in that depth, where so many teams were focused onto the players of Metal Esports. In the Sanhok also, they had to take an early exit because the rotations became a big problem and Termi was the last man standing. So Metal Esports is also one of those teams which needs to fix whatever is broken, because they have been doing pretty decent the past few days, and showing inconsistency at this point is definitely going to happen their position in the overall ranking.
Speaking about hampering stuff, this playing flat path, hopefully it's not going to hamper a lot of these teams' performance, and maybe their drop location as well, since it's starting all the way from Milta Power all the way towards Zarki. This plain flat path, it does seem quite forgiving for a lot of these teams, unless if you want to move in towards the Sanhok military base and even Fair Pier. Now that's going to be a tough stretch right there.
All the 16 teams, all the players ready for the last Erangel, where if you notice the flight path is going all the way from the side of Milta Power towards Georgia Pool. But let's see if we are going to actually see any drop clash, because RNTX, they love going all the way towards the side of Milta, God's Reign. They tend to go always for military base, and no one actually dares to contest the players of God's Reign in military base. Do you think it is actually the fear which they have?
Maybe there is definitely a big chance, right? All the other teams who are there on the latter half of the board, if they are challenging someone who was there on the first half doing pretty good, they know they've already got the win of the sales. They know the team on the first half, they're in the red hot form, and if you're looking to challenge them, there's a big chance the fight will be against you. The odds will be against you, but you still need to go for it. And sometimes those odds can actually hamper your performance against that fight, and also the confidence overall can be shut down as well.
Fear makes the wolf bigger than it is. That is what I believe. And you have to go up against the players of God's Reign as well, because if you do, the chances of you getting 8 extra points are also there. But for now, the circle is completely towards the western side. It is going to favor the players of TWOB, who are going all the way towards the side of Zarki, FS towards Siverni, completely uncontested, Likitha towards Gatka. But look at the amount of cluster, the teams which are towards the eastern side. Yes, iQOO, they have got the entire control of the school and apartments, which they love going in for. But Reckoning, Middle, RNTX, OG, MyG, these teams will be coming in from the eastern side, and rotations are going to be so difficult.
Once again, back towards that God's Reign and the drop location conversation, right? The only reason why I believe God's Reign isn't really getting drop clashed by anyone else is because people really do not want to drop around the extremities. God's Reign, they like to play it from the edges, and that's why that drop location sort of is completely fine for them, because they do not need to fight for the smack center. A lot of these teams do rely on that centric playstyle, and that's why they like to drop in towards that main Erangel Island itself.
But no one actually goes for the bridge camp as well.
That is true.
Maybe that's actually the fear.
But here's the thing, right? The team that is playing around Fair Pier, they like to move in and prioritize the centric part themselves. And that's why they prioritize a quick rotation. And that's one of the main reasons why they cannot go for a bridge camp, because bridge camp requires a lot of patience and will also burn through a lot of time.
That's true, but for now, RNTX is going up close to the players of OG because MyG is also towards the side of Milta Power, but MyG is actually prioritizing the loot because having good resources is always crucial to win those 4v4 fights. TWOB all the way towards Zaki. I'm sure the focus today would be to maintain the consistency. Since the previous game was a really good game for the players of TWOB, they can try maintaining the northern control. Look at Phantom, Pukar, Vishu, Avi, these are the veteran players, especially Phantom. If you notice, earlier he was part of Carpe Diem. Even Pukar was also a part of Carpe Diem. And they were having such consistent run in the last season. But this time, it looks like all the players are lost. Avi, previously part of Enigma. Even he's also not able to bring those numbers on the table. But finally, a good game came from their side. And every time, if you notice, when the teams are facing a downfall, it takes only one game to catapult themselves.
That is true. And I guess Seoul was a prime example of that, right? When they were slipping away from the top 4, Seoul comes up with a 42-pointer chicken dinner, and that just instantly propels them around the top 4 part once again. But Seoul's performance today has definitely been a little bit shaky. You cannot really deny that.
Yeah.
But still, the game of Sanhok wasn't as bad. At least they got the decent amount of points. At least they got the points flow. That's all that matters. The average point is what you need to get if you're already someone who's in the top 12. And if you're someone who's barely on the cusp, you need that one massive game to at least give you that cushioning.
We have got 3 bounty teams. If actually TWOB goes up against any of the bounty teams and get the extra 10 bounty points as well, they can actually try to be somewhere where we have the players of FS or Reckoning.
True.
So that could be the approach which TWOB can bring on the table. But I'm sure for now they're just going to prioritize the rotation because they don't want to hamper with the confidence which the players have got after the previous one. But iQOO Seoul, I'm sure they are pissed off, they are angry after what really happened in the previous one. So maybe this time they can actually aim for the chicken dinner. But I have a feeling God's Train, they're actually going to have a good run in this Erangel because every single day, if you notice, there is one game where God's Rain shine the most.
But here's the thing, right? God's Rain's not really playing for those flashy games anymore. They're just playing for the average points, which makes a lot of sense. Looking at God's Rain's position in the overall standings, in the top 3, what else do you want? You've already got the bounty on top of your heads, and we already heard what Distro was saying. He wants to play the semifinals first and then move towards the grand finals so the man can actually have a good momentum once he moves towards the grand finals. And I do understand the mentality behind it as well, because he knows the playstyle will be shifted the moment the league stage is over. And he wants to experience the grand finals playstyle before actually playing the grand finals itself.
You know what I think? Destro is a very smart player and a very smart IGL as well.
Yeah.
He's just not revealing all his cards.
Imagine
Towards
this.
the last few days, I'm sure he's going to change his strategy and maybe go for that power play points and everything else. Because now, yes, he's going for the natural play style. And everyone is thinking God's Train is not going to come to a drop location. But boom, towards the last day, God's Train is going for the bounty teams.
Look, I do believe the fact that especially on the last days, be it the semifinal last day, be it the grand final last day, things will be haywire. Things will be all guns blazing. It will be an aggressive affair. But I also believe the fact that God's Reign's mentality is also great. Imagine this. Only the top 4 actually move on towards the grand finals from the league stage. But from the semifinals, the remaining 12 teams qualify. Imagine this. And if God's Reign are actually a part of the semifinals, they get to practice against those 12 teams, which is the majority of the teams in the grand finals. And once God's Reign is accustomed to countering those teams, in the grand finals for them, the path will be smooth.
Highly possible, that could be the approach. But like I said,
That's
Destro
smart.
is a very smart IGL. No matter what the decision he makes, whether he wants to go for the grand finals or the semi-finals, he always has a plan. And for now, iQOO Seoul, even they need to have a plan that how they are going to traverse inside the circle, because they are also making the rotation from the southern eastern end where the players of Reckoning are going up against the players of Meta NINZA, and trades are happening back and forth.
And with the way the fight's actually commencing as well, it's looking quite a scrappy one too. Even MyG lost Hermanos from the top. They want to rain down death and destruction. Partake inside of this chaos, and they're here to claim all the elimination points that are lying on the floor. From the top, it's Shadow who wants to get the confirmations around the board, and also in his hands, Poco, the man, still ticking away to his death, and soon even Poco's elimination point will be confirmed. And that's what MyG Los Hermanos wants to do. The last man of Meta NINZA, he just runs away, books it away. He wants to play that survival gameplay. But there is still that one knocked player from NINZA lying around.
MyG, NINZA, and seems like the players of iQOO can do a third party. Not just iQOO, even the players of RNTX are also in the close raid. They can actually do a fourth party in this situation. But iQOO, they have to prioritize the rotation because circle is something they need to focus on. And seems like that is exactly what they are going to do. As Dragon is the last man from the side of NINZA, going a bit north. But now iQOO is the one who is coming under heavy fire. And not just from RNTX, but also from the side of MyG.
The next zone will be popping up within a few moments. And it will center on up right towards Pochinki. Oh my god, this might just be one of those circles. The game of Sanhok was confusing, but this game of Erangel will be even more confusing. If it does shift towards Pochinki, the urban warfares, they're quite unpredictable. They will bring a lot of that RNG factor inside of the game. Victorious Sumus, they straight up started booking towards Pochinki, which is not bad thinking. Look at the esports as well now want to play around the church vicinity, which is understandable as well, but even OG, they should be a part of the action. They should be a part of the rotation themselves. Mind you, Los Hermanos, look at the amount of damage they're dishing out to the lobby. Sensei gets knocked out from Revenant X Park. That's the first string already found. And keep this thing in mind, Revenant X Park, they've got the bounty on top of their heads.
Correct me if I'm wrong, iQOO, they dropped in towards the side of school. What they were doing around Milta? Especially when Milta was not even in the circle.
But that's the thing, right? They probably did hear all of that chaos. And they're like,
yeah,
you know what? That's what happens when you know the drop locations.
Interesting.
When you read the elimination feed and you're like, okay, this team, they like to drop over there. Guys, let's go towards that side and third party. And in the middle of the path, they found those teams colliding against each other. And another interesting question should be that NINZA likes to drop all the way around the quarry side.
Yeah.
Why did they drop towards right? Well, the answer is it's because the plane fly path.
And seems like the change of the drop location didn't go entirely in the favor of NINZA because now Dragon is the only one remaining and going for the complete northern rotation. Speaking about the players of Team FS, they have the entire control of the water city. A good split coming in from their side, a good control as well. But they need to be a bit cautious because even the players of OG are also somewhere near the water city. Even TWOB can also be eyeing for the same compounds. But for now, FS Lavish, the guy used the entire magazine.
He did. And now, with FS Esports, them playing around the Border City territory, this will definitely be a tough pill to swallow. NoNx next to Metal Esports, Termi and Venom next to each other. For some reason, I love this basement. I don't know why, but I just love it.
Me too. I have a clip of me holding on to that area for a very long time and eventually I survived till the top 2.
I still remember when the game came out new, I had no clue that this area existed.
Yeah.
Then I was watching a streamer and he went down there. I was like, wait, what? Does this actually exist? And then I hopped inside of the game myself, went towards that spot, broke that door, and I was like, oh, this actually does exist.
I went there by accident, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I actually hopped inside of the game myself after watching someone use that territory. And then I got to know myself that that does exist. But as of now, with the zone shifting away from Pochinki and moving around that ruins area, Shadow, I think it's going to be quite an exposed zone.
It most certainly is going to be around the compounds of Gatka. It's going to be an open circle. But look at the amount of teams still surviving. We have got 15 teams, 55 players. And this is stage 3 circle we are talking about.
Yep. And NoNx, as of now, they found a prey right on top. And in the name of God's Rain, Destro, the utilities, they're not able to find the connection, but it's fine. NoNx anyways pushes up and gets the elimination point confirmed. God's Rain, they're still around the fray. They're still around the territory. And at this point, the utilities that are being tossed out from NoNx, they're starting to put in a lot of work. Of course, the damage is a bit too much for the players of God's Rain to try and handle. Two of the players, Neo and Delta, pushing in tandem against Viper. And Viper is trapped. The man's got nowhere to go, but I love this off angle from Viper. Oh, he's playing this so brilliantly well. Now spots out Neo towards the left. And Viper, he instantly walks back inside of the house. He finds another knock. NoNx, they're somehow winning this fight against God's Rain. And God's Rain, just because they're not brute forcing, they're losing this duel. NoNx, they've got the man advantage. They've also got the HP advantage. No one's going to be stopping NoNx from winning this fight. Just 2 men of God's Reign, extremely hurt. They do not even have enough time to patch themselves up. I highly doubt this fight is theirs.
Individual fights given to the players of NoNx Esports. Such a big blunder coming in from the side of God's Reign. A team with such experience and such caliber. This is not expected from their side. And also the bounty points have also been claimed by the players of NoNx Esports because they got all the 4 finishes.
I love that one play from Viper.
Yeah.
He knew that both the players are pushing up from staircase. He hops outside of the window, spots Neo outside. That's why he vaults inside of the house once again, goes up, and eliminates that isolated player.
Even the
and that's what you call having a good presence of mind, and that's why we keep on saying the experience matters a lot.
I'm sure you are looking at the positive side. Viper, all kudos to him. Valiant effort. It was a big brain move which he pulled off, but God's Reign, when they were down to last 2 men remaining, they gave the individual fights. They both could have gone up against Viper. They could have done so much. But never mind. Few mishaps do happen, but kudos to NoNx. Those bounty points and those extra frags are definitely going to help the players of NoNx Esports.
I just believe the fact that NoNx was so good in that fight that they made God's Reign look bad.
True. I agree to that.
Because every single decision, every single move NoNx made, it was flawless. Especially that move from Viper. I'm just a big fan of that. Realizing that Neo's outside, instantly hopping in, isolating that duel up top. It was perfectly played. It was a perfectly cooked dish. And they cooked God's Reign in a perfect way. Gordon Ramsay would be proud of it.
Once again, the circle is favoring the players of Team iQOO. They're maintaining an entire southern control as the circle takes a bit of the southern shift. Now the cluster is coming either from the eastern side or from the northern front of the northern side of the circle. Even RNTX, they are towards the southern side of the map. This game can actually go really good for iQOO and RNTX if they play all their cards right. But FS trying to engage such a long range fight, but Roman finally. Oh no, not yet. Spy
do they not have scopes? Do they not have a 6x or a 4x?
No.
Just tapping away with the red dot. They actually do soften the man up extremely low. Lovish look at the man, pushing up close and personal. He might just be able to find that knock in the confirmation. The concern is the ammunition on Roman. He's only got 40 bullets in the magazine and 1 bullet in the spare. This is the last magazine Roman's going to have.
Lavish, that could be the reason he's trying to go up close personal. And finally, Spy has been knocked out, but not by the players of FS, but by a third party coming in from the side of Likitha Esports. As Starboy gets a confirmation point also onto Spy. FS, micromanagement of the resources is something they need to focus on. They can't really waste their resources just on a single individual.
They're lacking on loot, which is not a good thing, but OG, they're definitely lacking in the firefight. Athanki and his teammate instantly got eviscerated. And True Rippers, with the advantage now, make the run. OG, who would have thought they will be eliminated in such a fashion? Clean moves from True Rippers in that fight. And it felt like OG, they were not even there in that fight. That's how quickly they got melted.
True Rippers on the move, 3 finishes to their name as well. But here's the thing, True Rippers are trying to come from the eastern side, and that is where we have the players of Team FS, like the Esports. There is a very high chance of a third party happening if True Rippers engage in a fight with the players of FS at this point. They have to focus on their own rotation because the western part of the map is still pretty empty, not really occupied. As Metal is also coming in from the northern side where we have the players of Team RN as well. This looks like a good game for the players of OG, Soul and RNTX.
Definitely does seem like it, but look at True Rippers. They're constantly spamming through anything they can see moving. That's why the entirety of the lobby right now is fearing this one spot, because they know True Rippers is going crazy. They're going absolutely mad, guns blazing on this spot. No matter who they see moving, they're just taking the shots against them because they've also got a lot of resources. And at this point for FS Esports, they need to push up close and personal, eliminate a few players themselves because they need the eliminations and also the resources. They will now start looting the death grid at the same time. And FS Esports will be all good.
OG, even they have been eliminated. They were also trying to maintain the southern control of the circle, but seems like this time things are not going to go in their favor and things are not going in the favor of the players of Team FS. as Fierce with a grenade is trying to get the better out of Lavish, who is trying to go for the rescue mission onto the fallen comrade. This barrage of grenades is not really going to help the players of FS at all, but the connection, that is lacking. And look at the amount of smoke which has been deployed.
Yeah.
Levi has been revived.
FS Esports, it's such a tricky spot. And Revenant X Park, constant barrage of utilities, really starting to put in a lot of pressure and hurt. But since Fierce does not have any more nades, he cannot even toss them anymore. And FS Esports, this might just be sigh of relief, but the moment I say so, Trace, he somehow finds an angle, and he threats that needle. Levi knocked out, Lavish still in the back. And I highly doubt now FS Esports can make a comeback in this fight, because Trace Scott, he's pushed up way too deep already. Lavish going for the revival is impossible. FS Esports now will need to play the solo man's game. And Lavish with so much burden on the shoulder, he will be cracking down soon. 4 nades in the hands of Fury. He tosses one in the front. It's still not going to be a done and dusted fight yet. Lavish moves up, going for that revival on the fallen comrade. If the revival comes through, maybe there's still a bit of that chance. But given the position FS Esports has, I highly doubt it's possible.
Metal still trying to go for the northern rotation. They have to deal with the players of True Rippers as well. So much smoke, but look at that vehicle run over. Coming in from the side of Harsh. Instantly takes down aimbot. Venom chipped down pretty low. He has to go for the first hit as soon as possible. Altu with a grenade trying to do something, but the hovercraft, the vehicle of True Rippers are a big problem for the players of Metal Esports. What is happening?
Metal Esports, it's chaos ensuing all across the board for them, and Metal Esports, they thrive in a chaos like this. They're of course winning those trades, but now the fight's taken down to an even Steven one. And Hirsch, inside of the hovercraft, he's trying to apply more pressure on towards Termi. I'm not even sure what the game plan is for Hirsch, but now the man moves out in the open. He's playing with a lot of fire. Util tossed out from Termi. He's got 5 bullets, or 5 shells in that shotgun. Gets the reload done. Now he isolates that duel against Hirsch. The hovercraft has already exploded, and Hirsch is using that to a perfect cover. Termi, with only 4 shells in the shotgun, he will be eliminated by the last man of True Rippers.
And they have got enough time to go for the rescue mission, but the blue is also closing in. Can they really save their fallen comrades? Because Harsh is the last man standing at this point. He can actually go for the revival onto Jelly, but no, the blue is closing in. There is no time to go for the revival. Harsh has to fight for the position points because 8 finish already on the board. On the other side, Marcos Gaming going up against the players of VS, where Cheyenne has been knocked out. This is not looking good for VS at all, but Thunder still has an off angle.
Mafia and Thunder next to each other. And Marcos Gaming, at this moment, they've got the man advantage. And they can definitely try and abuse that. Thunder's in the outskirts. If they do manage to find a knock in the confirmation against Thunder, things can still be under control. But Marcos Gaming, they've got a lot of questions in their mind. But Thunder, he decides to strike. That sting from Thunder, it's deadly as ever before. And Marcos Gaming, they're already down 3 players. Stone is the only man standing, the man separated. But Thunder, the amount of work the man put up was insane. What happened? How did Victorious Sumus bounce back to life?
Stone BGMI has been eliminated by just a single grenade of Pro. Yes, VS, their 4v4 fight was very convincing. But what's really happening to the players of Marcos Gaming? In the map of Sanhok as well, up against the players of RNTX, they just kept falling down. And this time again, they were the one to rush onto the compounds of VS.
True.
They got the first knock, and despite that, they are the one to be eliminated. Marcos Gaming, you guys need to fix whatever is broken because you guys were looking so promising since yesterday. Till yesterday, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the problem is this degrading performance has now taken Marcos Gaming down in the overall standings. On the 15th spot they are, soon they will be toppled over by maybe Team Aryan or FS Esports once we do have the actual overall standings, the updated ones. But Revenant X Park on the hilltop, with 0 elimination points so far, by the way. They had the advantage against FS Esports. If Revenant X Park would have pushed up, maybe the elimination points would have been converted, but they did not do so. Revenant X Park, they decided to play it passive. Fury's the only man inside of the circle. You can see that 2-1 separation. And this separation might just pay dividends.
FS, 2 players joined at the hip. I'm not really a big fan of this position because a single grenade can mark an end for both the players. And speaking of marking an end, Team Orient, they have been eliminated on the 6th spot. But Team iQOO versus VS. VS trying to punch into the compounds. Back and forth trades are happening. 3 players. Instant flush out.
You blink it and you miss it. That's how quick that was. Soul did not even break a sweat in that fight as Victor Sumus just crumbled in front of him. And this is what I've been mentioning. Victor Sumus does not even go for the power play points. They're not even able to close out the games. What does Victor Sumus want to do? And Revenant X Park, they're constantly forcing this fight against FS Esports with just the bare utilities. And they're not able to find the connection with the utilities either. And that's the main problem. They're burning through their utilities against this one squad of FS Esports constantly. Another nade tossed out, and this is going to be the fight Revenant X Park was looking for. Now isolating that duel against Levi is not going to be tough. Trace God knows that there's just one man. Another nade tossed out, and that's going to be an instant confirmation as Trace God pops back up. He wanted to move on towards those death crates, but Trace God, he gets caught by NoNx Anonymous. Beautifully played from the side of NoNx. The spray, it was immaculate.
What happened to the players of FS was bound to happen, considering the position they were in. And I was already mentioning the fact that a single grenade can take down both the players. But Trace God had to use more than 3-4 grenades.
Hey, but at least they were in the top 4, right? Look at the positive side.
But what happened to VS? We'll talk about that later, but for now, we have got Fury on our screens. And he's getting shots from the players of NoNx Esports, and finally Anonymous with a vehicle is actually charging it towards Fury. He has got a shotgun, but can he really take the player down? Seems like no. He's the one to be taken down, and Viper will get a confirmation onto both the players of RNTX.
The man's got too much on his plate, and NoNx, with these, without even breaking his sweat, they've eliminated the players of Revenant X Park from this game. But NoNx themselves, there's quite a massive separation. 2 players towards the compound on the left, and 2 players on the southern side. The separation can actually pay well, but let's see how NoNx decides to play this. The 2 players in towards the compound now will need to move out in the open. Even the same thing can be said for the likes of Soul, since the zone's not favoring that compound anymore. So even Soul will need to move out in the open soon.
NoNx, I think they have been playing pretty decent in this particular one. They have dealt with so many players. That rush that came against the players of RNTX, that could have been a move which could have gone against them. But they held on to their grounds, especially Viper. This has been such a great addition, Anonymous and Viper. They were previously a part of UP50 and Saka Gaming.
Yeah.
They have got good synergy, and the synergy is being showcased currently as well. But
true,
it's going to be a 4v4 battle. Yes, iQOO Soul, they have to leave the compounds. They have to move inside the circle. But look at the split which NoNx is having. 2 players up north, 2 players towards the south. This is actually looking like a game for the players of NoNx to convert in their favor.
10 finish points already acquired. And NoNx, this can actually be a nuclear game for them. We spoke about how NoNx's performance day by day has been amping up. And once again in the last game, NoNx is on the verge of securing a chicken dinner. But you cannot take it away from Soul either. The game of Sanhok was great. And this Erangel as well, it's already great. But whoever comes out on top will also be the bounty on top, or will also be the cherry on top of the cake. That's what I meant to say.
6 grenades is what Anonymous is having. But no one from the side of iQOO Soul is in the range that he can use those utilities. That's the main factor. Kaliuk, he needs to be precautious. And here's the thing, if not a Viper and Anonymous, either of them gets taken down, there is no chance of a revival coming in. But for now, Kaliuk gets a better out of Nakul. And now iQOO Soul is left with only 3 players.
They've already dismantled. Soul with the 3-man squad. This might be a tough one to be converted now. Man advantage in the hands of NoNx, and the way they've spread themselves out, it feels like it is their field. And the moment the players of Soul step outside of that house, there will be a lot of problems line up. And that's what happens now. The Blues going to force out the players of Soul to move. And the moment they do so, through the smoke, Viper is able to find some miraculous connections. The crosser placement's perfect from the man, and now NoNx, they're going to start to make a move themselves. Goblin spotted behind that truck. And Goblin, I'm not exactly sure if he was able to spot out Viper. But Viper is now starting to toss out those smokes. And if Goblin was able to spot out Viper, things can be better. At least they can go for the even Steven traits, but no, that's not the case. Anonymous utilities! Oh, the nades are finding a lot of connection and damage. Goblin's taken down to barely any sort of HP. Another nade tossed out, and that's going to be the confirmation from NoNx. What a game that was, a nuclear performance from the boys. Eliminating all the 4 players of Soul in the end, and also having a lot of elimination points. This is insane stuff from them.
The amount of utils which NoNx had, iQOO had no answer to that. NoNx, they were just looking for that one opening frag, and the moment they got a knock onto Knuckle and the confirmation, that was the moment they decided to rush up against iQOO because they were outnumbered, and also NoNx, they had the entire circle control.
The only reason I believe Soul messed up, it's because when they had the compound in the earlier stages, they should have prioritized control more.
Yeah.
And especially when Revenant X Park was eliminated by NoNx, I feel like Soul should have made a play where they would have tossed out the smokes and at least spread themselves out around the fields. That way NoNx wouldn't have been so confident in engulfing the entirety of Soul. And this is where NoNx pretty much won the fight. The moment they made that 2-2 split, won that fight against Revenant X Park, that's where NoNx won the entire game.
Even Anonymous from that rooftop angle was able to do so much. He was the one to take down Legend as well. Everyone from the side of iQOO, they had no answer to those barrage of grenades and smokes coming in. The last man standing was also so close to the remaining fallen comrades. There was no answer. But we look at how things change at the overall ranking. But after a short little break,
Charge your phone.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
in the day of the comebacks, NoNx also making sure that they get a chicken dinner and high fragging game as well. Once again, they denied a chicken dinner to the players of Team iQOO. Back-to-back 2 games where iQOO, they came on the second spot. But you know what? We have been talking so much. I think it's time to hydrate ourselves, and you guys also make sure to hydrate yourself after such an intense game of last Erangel.
Exactly. Make sure to check out Bisleria's Ball. And of course, it is probably one of the best drinks out there for hydration. As my man Ronaldo mentioned, iQOO is the best drink. So, of course, you guys should as well have your hands on the Bisleri. But back towards the conversation that we're having right now for Revenant X Park and Seoul, of course, these are back-to-back 2 consistent games. If you talk about Revenant X Park in the game of Sanhok, they were seen in the final few. Once again, in the game of Erangel as well, they were there in the final few moments, which is a good thing.
Well, certainly, and like you were mentioning about the performance NoNx Esports, I think Anonymous and Viper, these guys have been sticking together since a very long time. In the last season of BGMS, we saw them a part of UP50, which was Sarkar back in the days. So these guys have good synergy, especially Viper. If you notice, as compared to last season, this guy has become so great with the util usage, and he's the MVP also with 5 finishes and 36% finish contribution. So that means finishes are equally distributed among the team.
The MVP of that previous game is going to be Viper with 5 finishes racked up and a finish contribution of 36%. From NoNx, of course, that's quite a nuclear performance since they dominated the entirety of the final few moments in that game. You've also got Lovish from FS Esports with 2 rescues and being the best companion. And the finisher is going to be Viper since he was the one to pretty much nail the final man down for Seoul. And speaking of Seoul, as I mentioned, the only reason why they lost that end battle is because they were not able to spread themselves out well enough. They should have spread themselves out the moment they saw the elimination feed, the moment they knew that Revenant X Park was eliminated. They should have tossed out a few smokes and challenged those 2 separated players. That's what I personally think.
And when everyone is staging a comeback, few teams are still struggling. That is struggling in terms of the consistency because they are inconsistent. But let's have a look at the highlights, which is never settled moments of OnePlus as well. It was NoNx going up against the players of Godston as well. And Viper, you are appreciating that, how he was able to bring the 100 IQ play in that situation and was able to deal with the entire team of Godston. But please tell me, what's happening wrong with the players of Marcos Gaming? 2 back-to-back bad performances.
I'm not exactly sure. It feels like Marcos Gaming are choking those proper 4-4 battles. Yes, when it comes to the mechanical skills, when it comes to the individual mechanical skills, they're good. But when it comes to a team fight, that's where Marcos Gaming is definitely lacking, which is a little bit concerning since this is a team game. And as a 4-man Marcos Gaming now, it feels like there's definitely a lot of things that they need to patch up. And if they keep on playing the same way, we all know they're going to move on towards playoffs, where 4 games are not enough to prove your worth.
100% agree to that. Marcos Gaming were looking so promising in the previous few days. They were getting the chicken dinners. It all started with Miramar. They made sure that Sanhok is also becoming strong. They made sure to make Erangel also a strong point for themselves. But now it looks like the 4v4 fights which they were winning previously are now a problem. But you know what's not the problem? The smile on the face of Goblin. No matter what the situation is, this guy is always a happy-go person, and that's something which I love about Goblin.
Of course, this man always has a smile on his face. He's always having that positive mentality, and I guess it's pretty much the entirety of Seoul, right? They've got that positive mentality every single time. Even if a game goes bad, Seoul would still have that positive mental. And NoNx got 34 points in that game. They were also able to claim one of the bounties, which is insane. And yes, NoNx was able to eliminate the entirety of God's Reign, right? So it makes a lot of sense. With 34 points on NoNx, that's an absolute banger. And I'm pretty sure now NoNx is breached inside of the top 8 as well.
But RNTX, just 7 points. And that's 2 finish points and 5 position points. Yes, it is fine considering the fact they are in the top 4. But you know the performance which RNTX is bringing on the table since last few days. If this continues for the next few days as well, maybe they won't look so comfortable in the overall ranking.
Come on, Shadow. Cut them a slack. They're already on the 2nd spot.
No, Sensei is a friend. So
they were quite tied up with OG. So I think Revenant X Park, the moment they feel like, okay, that 2nd spot is slipping away from their hands, I'm pretty sure they will try to get things done a bit better. But since Revenant X Park got those 7 points, they actually propelled themselves towards the 1st spot. All right, Critic Shadow, what do you've got to say now?
Yes, RNTX, they are on the top and they have been defending their bounty points quite smartly. But I really want to see RNTX going for those extra bounty points.
Nah, you're just greedy at this point.
Yeah, I'm just greedy.
You're just greedy. A team is already sitting at the top and you're critiquing them?
No,
Come on,
I'm not
are you
criticizing
crazy?
them. I just want to go for those extra bounty points and those power play points. I just want them to cross the mark of 500.
Well, here's the thing, right? If you really go and talk to Sensei's like, do we need to? We don't. Why are we supposed to put an extra effort if we just do not really want to and if we do not need to? Which makes a lot of sense. Sensei can just sit back, chill, relax, get the average point flow, and it's all good in the hood for Revenant X Park. They will be pinned on that 1st spot no matter what because OG's day today was shaky.
You know, I'll actually go and tell the same thing to Sensei. I'm expecting the same answer which you told.
Of course, man. I mean, Sensei's pretty much going to say the same thing, right? Why should we try hard and go for the elimination points? Why should we sweat when we could just sit back, relax, get a few scrappy elimination points here and there, get the consistent average point flow, and they're doing pretty good. And since OG was the one who messed up big time today, that's why Revenant X Park actually propelled themselves on the top. I mean, we've got AKOP right there on the 5th from OG, but Admino, since Hero Extreme Godlike was not able to play good today, that's why we are not seeing Admino on top anymore. It's Trey Scott who's taken over that spot.
But Justin, even he's sitting on the 6th spot with 71 finishes. Neo also of God's Reign with 70 finishes. Viz God with 70 finishes. Aimbot, even he has made it inside the top 10 with 66 finishes. But Atanki, even he's also there on the top 10.
Ooh, now that's a wicked upgrade right there. The TBS Raider IGO brings Segment's first GTT cluster with 85 plus connected features, best in class torque, and now 9 crazy colors. I'd recommend you guys to check out the TBS Raider. Of course, it's quite a fire bike. I love it myself. I've had my hands on it, and I love it.
Me too. I love the other grey color, but I'm sure you love the color.
There's a lot
black.
of colors, man.
Yeah,
honestly,
nice colors.
There's a lot of colors in this bike, and that is the best thing about it, right? I mean, some people love gray, some people love black, some people love red, some people love any other color, and all the colors are available on this bike. That's the crazy part about it.
100% it's a crazy bike, but let's have a look at the other things as well, because we have been discussing about the teams so much that few teams were struggling like Marcos Gaming, then few teams were consistent like the players of NoNx Esports. Then I don't know how all things are going to change, because consistency is something which we need. But let's have a look at the Swiggy 99 finishes. Total number of matches played are 68, but total number of finishes is 4,057. That's quite a heavy number.
Ooh, and 99 finishes are 40, which is interesting. But hey, once again, you guys can scan for an exclusive 99 rupees off coupon on Swiggy. It's only for a limited time, so make sure you guys are scanning it as soon as possible and getting your hands on that coupon. And of course, order yourself a delicious meal, or maybe you can order that burger, which was only for 99 rupees with no delivery charges, by the way. That's probably the best possible thing out there. But the max finishes do pop up on the screen. Trey Scott once again on top. The man's definitely going to be extremely happy. And soon we'll also have an interview lined up with Trey Scott on knowing exactly what his thoughts are for now. And since we're speaking about the interview, let's move on towards the interview, since that's going to be it from me and Shadow.
यार ये Red Bull Max Takedown वाली जो कैप है for max finishes, it's almost like a three-way dance, क्योंकि 3 ही contenders जो हैं उनसे बार-बार यहाँ बात होती है. एडमिनो के पास ये टोपी थी थोड़े टाइम पहले, AKOP के पास, and now it's back with Trey Scott. Revenant X Park, not a great day. 2 मैचेस थे, but performance वैसी वाली नहीं आई जो शायद आपकी expectations थी. एक ऐसा मैच भी था जहाँ चिकन डिनर का चांस बन रहा था, but वो भी स्लिप हो गया.
हाँ, गलतियाँ हुई. लास्ट गेम भी मेरी गलती थी ना, और बेटर हो सकता था. ट्राई करेंगे कल और बेटर करें. आज 2 गेम में कम ही पॉइंट हैं.
लुक, आप तो कब का 400 पार कर चुके हैं, और 400 पार बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. लेकिन when you have an achievement like this, कि आप इस लीडर बोर्ड में इंडिविजुअल ग्लोरी वाला जो लीडर बोर्ड है, सबसे ज्यादा टेक डाउन आपने किए हैं, सबसे ज्यादा फिनिशेस आपके हैं, डज दैट प्ले ऑन योर माइंड, या ज्यादा जरूरी क्या है कि टोपी रहे ना रहे बट टीम जो है वो पॉइंट्स बटोरती रहे?
अभी तो मेन ये है कि गलतियाँ कम करनी है. टीम एज अ टीम गलतियाँ हो रही हो तो उस पर ठीक करना है.
यार जो लास्ट स्ट्रेच होता है ना बिफोर यू गेट इनटू द ग्रैंड फाइनल्स, और आप उस आखिरी पड़ाव के पहले जो भी परफॉर्म करते हैं, एक तरीके से वो मोमेंटम बन जाता है. नोबडी, लाइक वी हैव सीन इन अदर स्पोर्ट्स एज वेल, नोबडी वांट्स टू लूज द लास्ट फ्यू गेम्स लीग में एंड देन गेट इनटू द फाइनल्स. सो ये बातचीत चल रही है सेंसे के साथ?
नहीं, वही कह रहा हूँ कि गलतियाँ कम करनी है. हमारा गोल अभी ये है, ये नहीं है कि क्या होगा क्या नहीं. गलतियाँ कम करनी है आगे वाले स्टेजेस के लिए.
भाई गलतियां भाई के जहन में बहुत ज्यादा छपी हुई हैं अभी. सो आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू लेट हिम गो. ट्रेस गॉड, रेड बुल मैक्स टेक डाउन कैप वंस अगेन ऑन हिज हेड. लेकिन इसी के साथ आज के दिन का अंत होता है थर्सडे, एंड देन वी गेट इनटू द वीकेंड. थिंग्स आर गोइंग टू स्पाइस अप विद द बाउंटी एंड द इम्पैक्ट ऑल्सो कमिंग बैक इन. मिलेंगे आपसे कल शाम को 5 बजे ऑन BGMS सीजन 4. अंटिल देन, इट्स गुड नाइट.